just get this app so you can get on while I'm doing it. I'll let y'all speak. I'll let y'all speak on mine on this issue. And on the first episode, I'm going to be covering this very interesting statement by Draymond Green, calling himself the greatest defender ever. Just period ever. He doesn't think there's anybody that's more valuable than him at defense. And I'm going to be covering today, giving my thoughts, whether he's right, wrong, and whether he has the right mindset or he's out of his mind. So this is about to get really interesting. You know, if anybody on YouTube, you know, if y'all are watching this on YouTube, if anybody here thinks Draymond Green is the GOAT at defense or has a very strong opinion about this subject or wants to replace somebody else in the topic, please leave a comment and I will get back to you with my thoughts on your comment. So basically, you know, I don't know what Jeremiah is doing right now because he's in the call.
Yo,
Jeremiah.
what's up, man? Yo, what's up?
What's up, Jeremiah?
Yo, what's up, man?
Man, nothing much. I'm just trying to get on this conversation. Do you think Draymond Green is the GOAT at defense?
No, I think he's definitely up there. Me personally, he's probably one of, if not, one of the smartest defenders I've watched. And smartest basketball players in general.
Okay.
I don't know if he is, but he's definitely up there. But I think him thinking he's the best defender ever is a good mindset. Because every defender you probably consider a top 10 defender definitely thinks they're the best defender ever. Because, I mean, you kind of have to have that confidence to be that good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's the best defender ever.
Now, I look at his Defensive Player of the Year in 2016, 2017, and I have a couple of thoughts and questions on how much gravity his defense really propelled that Warriors team. Mm-hmm. Because in the year, particularly in the year that he had the Defensive Player of the Year, now let's really examine this. He was on a super team.
Yeah.
He had KD, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and not to mention Iguodala, who was still good and 2 years removed from his Finals MVP, Sean Livingston. So that core team, really, that's one of the greatest offensive teams ever put together. They ran through the playoffs like nobody's business. Only one team got one game on them, and it was Kyrie Irving and LeBron James pulling off that crazy Game 4.
Yeah.
Or it might have been Game 3. I can't remember which one it was. But
it was Game 4, Game 4.
Like, literally, it took Kyrie and LeBron being legendary for them not to just sweep the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Sweep everybody off the books. So my question is that Draymond Green, you know, usually defensive players, and Tony Allen actually checked Draymond Green on Twitter, you know, talking about how much he really holds weight. And my thought is that we've heard Draymond Green mention if it was not for small ball and Steph Curry arising the way he did, that he would be out the league. So my question is, if you're a valuable defender, it shouldn't be the system that makes you great. You should just be a valuable defender by yourself. And plus, it doesn't help that he's right next to the greatest offensive, or probably the most valuable offensive player we've ever seen in history. And not only paired with that, the duo he's with Klay Thompson that produces even more astounding offense. And then the year that he wins the MVP, he's beside another all-time great offensive engine in Kevin Durant. So now you got three of them on the same team, and you can just, I don't want to take it away from him because he's a really good defender, but how valuable really is your defense when you're playing with three of the greatest offensive players ever in that decade? Three of the best offensive shooters, like literally, those are the first three that come to mind, and they're all on your team. And not to mention, you have JaVale McGee on your team. On top of that,
rim protector.
And then you have Iguodala and Sean Livingston. Those are four good defenders that can either play behind you or be potentially in the starting lineup when we talk about, you know, JaVale McGee's impact on the Warriors. So my question to you is, how valuable is that Defensive Player of the Year award?
I mean,
in retrospect.
I think, like, me personally, I think he made Kevin Durant a much better defender than KD actually was. Because, like, before in OKC, it wasn't like he was a liability, but he hit different levels on Golden State from him being able to, you know, play weak side and block shots and use his height really to to elevate his defensive game, and that's a huge thing on Draymond, especially, and of course, the Warriors system as a told them having a great coach in Steve Kerr and having great defenders like Iggy and Clay. But I do think most of that was Draymond. But I think Draymond showing most of his value defensively this year to me, because the first 2 games that he missed, they were god awful on defense. Or it was 3 games actually, I'm pretty sure. They were god awful on defense. Granted, they played the Nets and Bucks for 2 of those 3 games, but they were still horrible. And then now since Draymond's been back, they are a top 8 defense. So they're an elite defensive team, and you take Draymond off that team and they're horrible defensively. You can probably even track that through his on and off numbers.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think to me, and I'll always say this, Draymond Green's best season was the 2016 season because there was no KD. And he was clearly his small ball impact combined with Steph Curry's. Like, some people even say that he was more valuable than Klay Thompson. Do you think that he was more valuable to that team than Klay Thompson was, and that you could have put maybe Devin Booker in that same spot as the shooter number 2, and they would still had the same impact? Do you actually honestly think that, or do you think Klay Thompson is just a one of a kind in that way?
I do think Klay is one of a kind, but I do think Draymond was more impactful. Just off his shoe, you can look at, I'm not a huge impact number guy, but looking at those, he's wildly impactful. And yeah, that was a great season. He probably would have won Finals MVP if they won that championship.
Oh yeah, definitely. His impact was immeasurable in that series, and it really brings up the question of how very valuable is Klay Thompson to that team. Because we see Draymond Green's impact being able to be the secondary playmaker, and him being able to shoot that particular season, and that's one weakness of his game, that he has a lack of shooting. And he brought up a point. He rebounds, pushes the fast break, which is also a part of defense in the transition from defense to offense, which I think raises his value considerably when you're talking about him versus Tony Allen. While Tony Allen is a great stationary defender, it can just completely lock down guys. I think Draymond, his off-ball value, defensively and offensively, I think gives Steph Curry so much flexibility. And I'm watching highlights right now of that season. So as we speak, my mind is being educated more, or remembering more Draymond Green's value, because the only problem I really have with him is that, for one, if you send him to another team with a not as transcendent player, Steph Curry, can he still produce this level of defense? And I'm very questionable to say that that's actually the truth. And if that is the truth, really, is he really a valuable defender, as somebody who can, like a Giannis, who can go to any team and raise their defensive ceiling to immeasurable levels, even on a mediocre team?
Yeah, I do think he's still one of the most impactful defender. I don't think Giannis level, because Giannis, with his regular season and even sometimes in the playoffs, his defensive impact is unmatched, especially on last year's Bucks team. They were one of the best defenses ever, I'm pretty sure, just off Giannis's. Just his elite switchability, him being able to do almost everything defensively on the floor. And him, raising the ceilings of dudes like Brook Lopez and Eric Bledsoe defensively. But I do think he can make any solid defensive team, or even any bad defensive team like the Warriors were to start this year, significantly better on that end.
And then my another question, I'm looking at the people who are in contention of that title, and 16 votes went to Rudy Gobert. So Draymond Green got 73% of the vote, first place vote. He shot 30% from the field, and he shot 41% from the floor, which is, that ain't very good. But his defense was still very, very great that season. He won by a large margin. The next person to him was Rudy Gobert and Kawhi Leonard with 16 and 11 first place votes. So he ran away practically with the award, with Robert Covington and LeBron James trailing him with 0 first place votes. That he won by a pretty considerable margin. Like, there was nobody really thinking. But how much does that have to do with the Warriors' 67-win dominance rather than his defensive impact? Like, it's so hard to tell because, yes, while he's a great defender, if you take him off that team, they're still winning the finals. Like, let's just be honest. Like, you could replace him with, like, and that's the thing, right? Like, and maybe it makes it a little bit hard to skew because Draymond Green really forms that death lineup. But the Warriors, let's not be like too charitable towards them because they had Zaza Pachulia on the starting lineup. Like, for real, like they literally just had like just an okay center as their in the starting lineup. Like, and plus when you put those three superstars together, I think they just win. And plus the Warriors had, their simple rating system, which rates their dominance by how the margin of wins they had and the strength of their schedule. They were at like nearly 11, which I think other than the 96 Bulls, is like 1 point higher. Like literally they were more dominant than the 2016 season because of how much they were being teamed down. They took a couple of games to risk because they didn't even go after the record. It was more about winning the title than, potentially, getting that record again. Or getting near that record, which to me brings up an interesting scenario. If, let's just say, by a miraculous, feat, the Golden State Warriors win the 2016 finals. Draymond gets finals MVP. Do you think that he would either get exposed in the next year, or do you think he would, really play out and still be a superstar with no KD there?
I guess I would expect his offensive, or just his all-around output to go down. Just because, he was always on team's radar, bro, especially once you get that finals MVP and you're still an all-star and all that, and you eventually win defensive player the next year. Teams are definitely going to scout you more. I would say his offensive output, like his offensive play, definitely gets exposed, because even in that 2017 season, KD's first year there, his offensive production decreased massively, especially his 3-point shot. He went from 38%, I think, one year.
38%.
Yeah, to I think he was shooting in the 38 flat from three. So
30 flat. That was. Now, could you imagine if Draymond shot 30% with Durant on the floor with him? Oh my goodness! Yeah, they could have potentially broke the record again.
Yeah, if he had that 38 year again, that would have been absurd.
That would have been insane. They would have swept the playoffs. They would have tore through, and I would be the first to say they would have tore through everybody. There would have been nobody that could have stopped them.
Yeah, they already tore through everyone. They just lost one game. Now you give Draymond a +8 in his 3-point percentage, and they don't lose nothing.
I think they only lose probably about 10 to 7 games that season. They're at least tying the Bulls.
Yeah,
they're at least tying, and at best they probably win 7 games, and then they probably break the record, and then take the rest of the games off to rest for the playoffs. And then they probably sweep everybody at the playoffs if Draymond is able to hold on to those absolutely absurd numbers. And, my question is, okay, if literally KD's out of the picture, they match up with the 2017 Cavaliers, does Draymond still bring that value to the team? Right? Because my problem is he hasn't made an all-star team since 2018.
Yeah.
2019, he didn't make the all-star team. He shot 28% from the 3-point line, which could partially be a part of it. But when Steph Curry went down last year, let's just not lie, he was Mr. Triple Single, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
His impact went into the toilet. And not just offensively, defensively, and is it Steph Curry's off-ball value that really gives Draymond Green the speciality, whereas you put him on an average team, his impact could be so questionable.
Yeah, I think offensively, because I think Draymond is more so of a ceiling raiser than a floor raiser. If you give him a bad team like he had last year, he's not going to do anything but lead you into the lottery. But if you give him like, if you give him like a or a good team, he can make them a great team. I definitely think he's more so of a final piece to a team than a building block like a Steph or a LeBron or a KD. Like those dudes who are floor raisers and can steal and grace.
Like floor raisers, and I'm just looking, and what's interesting to me is that I think you could make more of a case for the 2016 season than the 2017 season, because and I'm gonna start now comparing him to his contemporaries, and a lot of people may not like it, Draymond fans that are in love with his style, but let's just tell the truth. Rudy Gobert anchors his team with defense. The Jazz are number one right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a clear difference from Draymond, who contributes to the Warriors' success. And let's not forget, Klay Thompson's a lockdown defender.
Yeah, he's a great defender.
He Draymond could switch, but let's not forget, back in 2014, he got bodied by Blake Griffin. He got absolutely bodied in a matchup where he had to go one-on-one with Blake Griffin. They even tried to send double teams, and it just did not work. But then again, you're talking about the best power forward in the league at that point.
Yeah.
Literally, Blake Griffin had his best season that year. So his one-on-one defense is a little bit questionable. And I've seen sometimes where he stopped LeBron James at the rim. He can make these very impressive stands. But as a defender, like, if Rudy Gobert was on the Warriors, they would be absolutely monsters. Mm-hmm. If you replace Draymond Green with Rudy Gobert. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about intangibles, his playmaking, which I think is an even bigger part that contributes to their offense. But Rudy Gobert, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's won it 2 times. Yeah. Now, here's the even better question. Is Draymond even the best defensive player this decade, let alone ever? And I'm just going to start with this decade.
Question.
Like, is he even the most impactful defender in his own era? And we're going to just start from 2010, and then we'll get from guys before then. But let's just start off for the past 10 years, right? Giannis, it's not even a question. Giannis has some of the best PER numbers ever. Like, he literally beat out Wilt Chamberlain's 50-point season. Which, if you really think about it, how crazy that is, Giannis is very similar to Wilt in that manner. Like, he is a stat stuffer. He's an athletic freak, bro. And then he was able to max Draymond's 3-point percent. Oh my god, bro. I still find that funny, but the fact that somebody who's shooting 30% can still break Wilt's record, just absolutely, that's absurd. And then win Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, being the best at both ends of the ball. That's just wild. So now I want to turn it to Rudy Gobert, right? So Rudy Gobert, without Rudy Gobert, the Jazz are good. Like their system just does not work, right? Rudy Gobert is attributed. I think he leads his team. Like let me check for a second. I think he leads his team in win shares. Let me look.
I know he definitely leads the Jazz in a lot of advanced metrics and advanced stats.
Okay, no, let me look now.
Especially defensively.
Oh, of course, defensively advanced. So let's look at VORP.
Yeah.
Yes, he leads his team in VORP slightly over Donovan Mitchell with a 2.3 over 2. But then Joe Ingles is also a 2, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Blocks plus minus. Joe Ingles leads them in blocks plus minus, seconded by Rudy Gobert. Offensive blocks plus minus is Joe Ingles, Donovan Mitchell, then Mike Conley, then Rudy Gobert. So he's their fourth. According to the metric, he's their fourth most productive offensive player. But let's not consider the things that the analytics don't get: is the screens he sets, how many open shots he produces because of his size, how much he dominates inside, how much he's a lob threat. It's the little things that he does that makes him a great traditional big man. Or in a great big man, he jabs this at defenders. I think let's compare. I don't want to compare his value to Draymond's. Right, Draymond's is a great switchable defender, but you can argue Rudy Gobert can do nearly the same thing. Right, he can switch, and he can switch on the guards, and he's particularly made to fight guards, and can switch on to forwards and athletic forwards and stop them. The only players he has problems with are centers. right?
Yeah.
He's built the jab step and force guards in directions and different positions where, they might have to shoot a mid-range or, how guards do like a little in and out and go back to the 3-point line and shoot it. Like, I mean, that's technically a bad shot and it stops the flow of the team offense. So I think in that way, do you think he's more of a disruptor than Draymond is?
I think so, mate, in the regular season. I mean, we can talk about the playoffs later, but in the regular season for sure, because the thing that goes unnoticed and doesn't show up on the stat sheet is how many dudes don't take a layup when Rudy's around the rim. Like, his gravity around the rim is insane. Dudes will pass up a layup and pass out to a shooter or something instead of driving at Rudy because they know they're getting blocked. So
And
I think... No, my bad. You can continue.
No, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. No, you're good.
But yeah, his defensive around the rim, and also we were just talking about his offensive stats, and something that gets overlooked as well that doesn't show up on the stat sheet offensively is his, like you said, his screens, like the pick and roll with him and Mike Conley is elite. His gravity rolling to the rim too is teams are really scared of that. That's why the Jazz get so many good open looks at the 3-point line, and that's also why they're an elite 3-point shooting team.
So he's second is the team's defensive box plus minus, and my question, like, okay, Draymond's more of a switchable defender, guy that can kind of guard the perimeter but also be athletic at the bucket. But let's just be honest. I think that where Draymond Green's value comes most is what comes directly after he defends a play, right? There are guys that can make stands at the hoop, but I think we've never seen a guy that can then just start the fast break and make high IQ plays combined with Steph Curry's gravity, right? But I'm trying to think of that on an average team. Like, let's just say Draymond Green was on the Phoenix Suns. Could he outlay a couple of passes? But sometimes he could just go straight to the rim because three guys are so worried about Steph Curry shooting a three. And that's why I really question his defensive impact compared to another player outside that maybe 2016 season, because you have to give him that because they won so many games and he was the second most valuable player on that team. But his elastic defense coming on other teams, do you think the best defenders are the defenders that can be in almost any situation and cause instant defensive impact like a Rudy Gobert?
Yeah, I think the best defenders, like some of the best, can thrive in any situation. But me personally, I think like the best and most valuable defensive players are the rim protectors that are switchable, because rim protection is the most impactful way of defense. But if you can also switch, which gets much more important in the playoffs, like a dude like AD, Giannis, Bam, those dudes are, in my opinion, some of the best defenders in the league. Even Ben Simmons, due to their switchability and being able to also rim protect.
I would definitely say this, right? For, guys who can switch. I mean, rim protection, there is such a need for rim protection just because the fact that this is a drive, there's no mid-range anymore. That's out of the question. Because if you can shoot the mid-range, that's Rudy Gobert's weakness. Because then at that point, he doesn't know where to move because you have this space in between where you're a threat. So he could easily try to step up. You could drive right by him, get to his hip, that weak spot in his hip, draw a foul, or create the necessary contact space to make a layup, which heavily dents his value. So you remember Jamal Murray was taking pull-ups in the playoffs.
Yeah, pull-ups affect Rudy.
Oh, like he had no answer for Jamal Murray's pull-ups. And that's the part of the weakness that if you think if Draymond was in that position, do you think that would be happening to him? Or
I don't think it would happen. My bad to cut you off. I don't think it would happen to him because he's so switchable. And with Draymond on your team, if he's playing small ball 5, you're definitely not running drop coverage, which cracked the Jazz so much, and even the Nuggets on both ends. Because when you're running drop coverage on Jamal Murray, who was red hot in the bubble, that's not working out, and he's just gonna keep taking pull-up mid ranges. And even the same for the Nuggets. They were running drop coverage with Jokic and Donovan Mitchell pick and rolls, him being able to pull up really killed them.
Yeah. It literally just sauced their season, bro. Like Jamal Murray, and maybe he will never repeat that, but like, what if another player like goes off like that? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes the Jazz such a shaky team, because they should have had the series in the bag. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell plays at an all-time great level, drops 57 points. Didn't they lose that game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they lost that game.
Like that. But then that speaks more to the Jazz lack of offensive generation.
Yeah,
like Royce O'Neal being on the floor is not an offensive threat. Like, and that's what a lot of people got. And really think about it. Like, Mike Conley didn't play that well, and if he hits that shot from half court, they win that series. Like, or not even half court. It wasn't really even half court, but if he hits that shot, they win that series. In shocking fashion, Jamal Murray is called a bum. Like, let's just be honest. He would have been called out majorly. Like, literally, he. Oh my god, it would have gotten ugly. It would have gotten so ugly on him. Like, doing the worst IQ play of all time.
Yeah,
with not dribbling out the clock. Oh, bro, you would have heard every
because he shot that layup.
I mean, bro, he was already kind of on the fast. I don't really blame him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why not take the layup if you're already... What if he stops in that position? Like, are they going to strip the ball? Like, if you're already moving... I know what they were trying... They were trying to put away the game. They were trying to do the icing on the cake, but failed miserably.
Yeah.
Like, and there's something to be said about their offensive IQ, especially with that play where all three guys were at the 3-point line with the game on the line, and Jamal Murray is looking bamboozled.
So
oh my god, like, bro.
That was so funny. Three dudes just chilling on the 3-point line. No one's going to the bucket. They're just sitting there. And Jamal even posted on Twitter. He posted that picture. It was funny as hell.
Like, bro, somebody should just make that their wallpaper whenever somebody says something dumb about the NBA. Like, bro, you're the equivalent of this play. Like, bro, that's how some people comments are. They're that dumb. Like, bro, like saying, "Oh my god," like literally LeBron James is the worst player. Like, what? Like, bro, NBA Twitter is wild. Somebody out here tried to say KG is not a top 5 power forward of all time. I'm like, what?
NBA Twitter is wild, especially the trolls on NBA Twitter.
Oh god, like you can get some interesting ones, bro. Like literally, like fanboys of all kinds come there to just congregate. Like literally, it's awful, bro. Like, how are you even supposed to take that seriously, bro? Especially because most people don't even watch defense. It's all about the offensive. Like, I call the MVP the offensive player award because that's literally what it is. Even though it's really supposed to be the most valuable on both ends of the court.
Yeah, really.
And just to come back, like, I'm looking at the defensive win shares for the league this season, and I'm looking at the top 10. You know who I don't see?
Who, Draymond?
Nope. He's not even the top 20.
Oh, wow.
Like, okay, you got Rudy Gobert, number 1, 3.3. You have Julius Randle, 2.7, which that's really shocking. And I know we can't you can't really use, the defensive win shares because that's all about production and stats rather than, what we see with our eyes. Which really brings the case, why don't we have like any ratings or visual analytics? Because we're literally watching the game. You can literally keep track of it. And I guess some people do, the more advanced, guys at the camps of these players are keeping track of it. But just from a visual perspective, like a screen rating, like how many points does a player score off a certain screen? Is Draymond Green better at screens, or is it better to have Iguodala at screens?
Yeah.
Which one could take advantage of them better? I'm surprised nobody's ever, made those kind of deep analytics on the site, because those provide a lot of context. And I think that you could mathematically formulate those into actual stats and really get a better value of how these players play, especially for players back in the day that you can't really see them. So, like, we know the context of Rudy Gobert's greatness, right? But, like, for a guy like Mark Eaton, for guys like Patrick Ewing, for those kind of guys that, people didn't really get to see play, which really, lowers their value as terms because like most people don't watch players year by year careers. They watch certain points and judge those players on those points. And that's a sad reality. And, you know, with Draymond, I mean, if you're really Draymond's number 20. No, that's Danny Green. Wait a second now. Oh my goodness. So LeBron James, you know, from a stats perspective, I cannot say that. From a stats standpoint, stats standpoint. Yeah. Oh my God, that was amazing. A stats standpoint, LeBron James is the third best player this season, right behind Giannis, which we all know who's the better defender. Like, we don't even have to sit here and debate. Bam Bam's a better defender, a more impactful defender. LeBron James can do, you know, he can do a couple of stuff, but it's more about the little defensive value that he adds on the other end is in comparison to his enormous offensive value. Yeah, like his offensive value is insane. Even though he has more offensive win shares, but it's only by a point. Which I mean, I guess you could say is a lot. I mean, Giannis' defensive value is lower than his offensive value, but I mean that's just Giannis. I mean, it's a whole lot of stats not being able to track. But I'm trying to look for. Montrezl Harrell has a higher defensive value than Draymond.
I did see that.
Oh God, stats, bro, stats without context. They will lead you in. They will lead you in interesting directions. Okay, Draymond Green is number 26, and he's right behind Jimmy Butler. Which do we believe Mikal Bridges is a more valuable defender than Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green?
No,
do we honestly believe that?
Like Mikal's been great this season, but he is definitely not more impactful than Draymond or Jimmy.
And do we like? I could carve out like half of these players, okay, and tell you who's the best defensive player. And I'm so glad on this site that you can reference that you can just take out certain players just by pressing them on the select the only rows.
Yeah.
So like just to rank all the defenders probably this season. Give me a second, but like let me ask you another question, right? If you had to name your defensive first team for the season right now, who would it be?
All right, so I got Ben Simmons. I don't really think I need to explain that. He's you know, he's a top 2 defensive player on the second best defensive team. I don't have to get much into depth about that. I got Rudy, of course. Not really much explained about that. And now this is kind of where it gets harder. I think you can throw up
Jarrett Allen's number 36.
Jeez. Yeah, you can definitely throw Giannis up in there.
That's ugly.
Yeah, you can throw Giannis up in there. That's 3 dudes. And now, I'm not really keeping track of position, to be honest. But if I have to, I'd have to think of a guard. I wouldn't put DeJounte Murray first team, but I do think he needs some reparations, and I think he'll be on the defensive team. I'll put in. Yeah, probably Mikal Bridges can have the other spot. He's been really good defensively this year. And then
so when I look at the defensive teams, like the best defenders to me in the league, because I mean stats can give some context, but let's just be honest, like it's the Hornets offense that's winning them today. Like I would say like the biggest impact anybody's doing is on the defensive ends like Rudy Gobert, Giannis, Bam, Ben, Miles Turner, Joel Embiid, Dennis Schroeder, who gets heavily underrated on his defense.
Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan, so I've watched most of Schroeder this year, and his on-ball.
Danny Green got undercut. That was one of the parts of his game last year. Jimmy Butler, top 5 defender. Dude's literally a dog. Draymond Green, to a certain extent, by this point, like he's very questionable. Like, as far as being a top 10 defender in the league, Anthony Davis, of course, he's a top 5 defender. Like, literally can guard.
Personally, I think
5 through 3.
That might be my Lakers bias, but I do think he's the best defender in the NBA right now.
Ooh, that's interesting. Like I notice how Draymond Green's not in this conversation. Now that Steph Curry's like in and out of the lineup, and let's try to stay on topic because I don't want to stray too far away. But like, just examining, like, do we think Rudy Gobert for his career is a better defender than Draymond Green?
Regular season, yes, but I do think in the playoffs where switching is more important, I would personally take Draymond.
Okay, here's the thing, right? Draymond Green is playing with the most valuable three-point shooter we've ever seen on shooting nearly impossible percentages that doesn't put pressure on their defense, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's why I really question, like, how much pressure on an average team would be put on Draymond if he had to be on the Phoenix Suns of the world, the Oklahoma City Thunders of the world, teams that he could potentially turn into small ball teams, but where there's no super shooter Curry or super shooter Clay. How would he translate on those teams as compared to a Rudy Gobert, who you could still play that shooting style, but he gives you better screens to get more open threes. So he's actually his value is generating more open threes and giving the shooters more space to work, which probably upticks some of the worser players on the team's efficiency to some startling level. So we see what he's doing with the Jazz. So in my personal opinion, I think that Rudy Gobert is a more valuable defensive player just because his defense really disrupts teams, whereas Draymond's defense in a vacuum, I think his playmaking is more valuable than his defense. I love his defense. I love how he gets hands in the lane, but his playmaking is what makes him so special off of the defense in the combination of the two. So I want to compare him to the next two-time Defensive Player of the Year from that decade, Kawhi Leonard. We don't even have to talk about it. We don't even have to talk about it.
Pete Kawhi is one of the best perimeter defensive players ever. Back when he was in San Antonio, which he's fell off defensively due to him developing offensively and not really having to worry about or having to play as much defense. But yes, Pete Kawhi is definitely a better defender than Draymond.
Like Kawhi Leonard can anchor a team. We saw in Toronto what he did, carrying that team, scoring over 700 points, which only LeBron and Jordan have done other than that. Like that's historic. People will underrate that run because they'll point to Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. But let us not forget who made the wall work, okay? Who glued the wall together. So so Giannis couldn't jump over it. like they were down 2-0 in that series, and if you put Draymond in that series, bro, he's getting dunked on. Like he's literally getting yammed on. Like we don't even have to discuss Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's a better defender, and plus, Kawhi Leonard can guard LeBron James straight up or come off a switch. So like it's just like, and plus he's a better offensive. He's just a better player. Period.
Yeah, the gap is quite big.
Like, okay, then after that we get to somebody interesting. Joakim Noah. Do you think that he's better than Draymond Green?
That is a good one because his rim protecting is elite. But the one thing I have with Joakim is that in Rose's MVP season, the year that Joakim didn't play much that year, and the Bulls were still the best defense in the league. So that kind of has me questioning his defensive value. If the year you didn't play as much, I can track down the games he played. He only played 48 games that year. So
48 years? Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, my bad. He only played 48 games that year, and they were still the best defense in the NBA. So that kind of has me questioning your value. If the year you don't play that many games and you're still the number one defense, I mean, you're still impactful and valuable to your team defensively.
And you gotta remember, did he play? I wonder, did he play in the games where they played against LeBron and the Heat?
In the regular season, I can find that actually.
And while you're finding that, what I'm saying, the one thing I will in this debate, right? We have two transcendent point guards, but the year he won was 2014.
Yeah,
And the
that
24,
is.
and that's
three,
very, that's very different. Like on the best player on the team was Jimmy Butler
Mm-hmm.
and Luol Deng, and Derrick Rose averaged 15 points per game. So he was not the same Rose, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What was their record? Because that has to kind of play a factor into they won 48 games, so they were nearly a 50-win team, which is then they were second in defensive rating, and they were 28th in offensive rating. Whoa, okay,
Wow.
whoa, like what the heck, like that's a low.
Yeah, that is very low.
Like for a team that nearly won 50 games, you had the 28th best offense. Like what?
Yeah,
like they were really shut teams down out here. Like,
yeah, I mean that also helps his case with his defensive impact. If they were a very poor offensive team and they still almost won 50 games.
I mean, Marcus Teague and Tony Snell were on the team, so Mark and Ben Teague. But shout out to Marcus Teague. He was a pretty good role player, bro. But he played just like his brother, which always put me off. He just played like a worse version of his brother. It's like down to the T. Sometimes I would get confused, be like, Jeff Teague? Oh, no, that's the off-brand. The off-brand team. Like, okay. And I think that it's easier to see Joakim Noah's levity than it is to see Draymond Green's levity apart from his playmaking. Because that's what makes it...
My bad, you can continue.
Sorry, but I'll just say this right quick and then you can get back to your point. But
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, if we put Joakim Noah on the 2016 Warriors, how good is that? Or the 2017 Warriors? Like, they would be a lot different, but still... They would be fantastic. Like their rim protection, and plus Joakim Noah can switch too.
Yeah, he can.
Maybe not as well as Draymond, and you can't really leave him on an island too far from the basket. Mm-hmm. But that rim protection, this is a league where mid range has been forgotten. Quoted by Ray Allen. Mm-hmm. This league is all about getting to the bucket or getting to the 3-point line. Yeah, and when you have a team that can kind of stop both, and Joakim Noah can do that. So. But I would say that as a pure, and we're talking about pure defense, which a lot of people are going to think of his playmaking as transition defense to offense value. We were completely stripping that out. We were talking about pure defensive ability. It's not really that impossible to say that Joakim Noah at his peak was a better defensive player than Draymond. It's not a stretch. Now and I can tell you the next defensive player of the year that I know is better than Draymond. And that's Marc Gasol. 2013 Marc Gasol. Yeah, now, a lot of people feel he led the Green Grind Grizzlies to the conference finals. Like, give that man his respect. Or, no. That may not have been the year. I think that was 2014.
I think it was 2015 because I remember I seen this graphic about Steph beating every first-team All-NBA player that year.
Yeah, what's up, Dylan? We got Dylan in the podcast right now. Dylan, what is your thoughts? And we got Charles.
Well, my thoughts, I mean, to be honest.
What is your thoughts? Where's your thoughts on Draymond saying that he is himself the GOAT of defense? What is your thoughts on that statement?
In short, he's an idiot. I mean, don't get me wrong. He is a great defender. But I mean, we're gonna look at Dennis Rodman, Hakeem, Scottie Pippen. Hey, to me, I think even what was his name? Tony Allen is a better defender.
Because Tony Allen was checking him on Twitter. He's like, "Who crowned you?" or something. It was something of the sort. And he came, and Draymond Green tried to come back at him.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just thought him saying that has got to be just for attention, like just to get him in the media.
I wouldn't be
you
surprised.
can't really believe that.
I mean, he's the 26th best defender by defensive metrics. So it's like, you're not a valuable defender when Steph's off the court. You're only a valuable defender when he's on the court. And it's even questionable right now that he's on the court whether his value is really felt, because the offense is just so well built around Steph Curry. And Steph Curry makes these guys, better. I mean, where would Draymond Green beat out Steph Curry? No job.
Hold up here. I think I need to make the argument. Even though I don't think Draymond's the GOAT defender, I think that people clown him to the point where like they think he's not a top 10 defender or not the best.
I'm not saying that.
Or not the best defender. But
the question
is he right? Like where he has an argument, right? Like he's the best defender of an era where it's incredibly hard to be a valuable defensive player. Right? Like that's his argument, right? Like it's not like this isn't coming out of left field. He's probably one of the only defenders in NBA history outside of like KG to be able to give you defensive player of the year value in the regular season, while also kind of having that switchability. So that especially in the modern league.
Whoa. Okay, can I counter that point? Can I counter that point? And I'll let everybody else counter it. Okay, first of all, Kawhi Leonard. Like, where did he go in this conversation?
When I say defensive player of the year value, I'm talking about like you have that kind of level of help ability, right? Like where like you're not just kind of the ISO guy, where you're not just the best guy just put on the island with X body type. I'm talking about you being able to affect the play like 4 other players, right?
Has
like,
Kawhi Leonard not done this? What?
No, because Kawhi's not a rim protector, right? Like that's.
He's about as good as Draymond Green is. Like what?
No, like that again. Draymond Green's best part about is that he's an elite level help defender while also being able to switch on the perimeter. That's his thing.
I mean, right? Like Kawhi Leonard can stop.
It's like if you had Gobert, but Gobert didn't get torched in the playoffs because of a lack of mobility, right? That's prime Draymond, right? That's why he's arguably the best defender of this era, an era which it's incredibly hard to defend.
What about Giannis? Because I feel like Giannis just speaks up Draymond.
Well, I would say Giannis would have an argument like if we saw like his again, he would have an argument if we saw his defensive value translate to the playoffs like we did with Draymond. The thing about Draymond is he's arguably been the most valuable like defensive player in the playoffs in almost every playoffs like he's played and where like they were actually competitive. Like that's his thing. Right? Like
also that's all he has to focus on. Like what I'm saying is, if you ask Giannis just to strictly focus on defense, just to strictly focus on that end, like he does everything that Draymond can do, but he's more athletic, way more athletic.
But like he hasn't, right? Like the thing is, he hasn't, right? Like he hasn't proven to have that level of defensive value in the playoffs, whereas Dre has.
Right? He has.
What? He hasn't. Like at least not to the level of Dre.
Well, yes, Dre's been to the playoffs more, and he's been on better teams. But like every playoff,
he's elevated his teams defensively to a level that Giannis didn't.
Wait. Can I say something on this? Okay, so you make the case that he hasn't elevated his team. You do know that he has to produce all of his team's offense outside of Chris Middleton, right? And then he has to be the best defensive player. Like, let me not slight Draymond Green. Wait. Hold on. Let me finish.
Cool, but again, I'm saying like this is hypothetical, right? The hypothetical that he could reach that level of playoff value if he just focused on defense.
I mean, what about the playoffs?
No. Without we can remove the like Draymond Green's defensive value as a small ball center is good, right? He can make some stands at the hoop. But let's not forget he got bodied by Blake Griffin. He got bodied by him in the playoffs.
Well, I get. Like, when I'm thinking about Draymond, it's not that he's the best ISO defender, right? It's not that he's the best.
But I mean, that was
defender. It's that he is the best if you combine all these things of his era, right? And they're only players that like again, like the only players that I'm really gonna put ahead of Draymond, if I'm thinking about it like that, is KG, because I think that he does everything I just mentioned with Draymond, but like he's fucking
better.
7 foot. He's 7 foot. right? Like, so he was a better rim protector.
and more
And
athletic.
freaking Bill Russell, who was the most dominant defensive force the game's ever seen, right? Like, those are the only two players I can confidently put ahead of Draymond.
Wait.
Everyone else-
My problem with your statement is that Draymond Green's defensive impact is to me in limited scope compared to the offense that Steph Curry provides to this team, taking pressure off the defense. And I think where you're
And how does that
conflating
make any sense?
his. Okay.
Because Steph is a liability.
For example,
it was at least not now, but he used to be, right? Like, for most of like the Warriors,
Like,
he was bad.
but he's
he
got
was
Clay.
bad.
I wouldn't say he's a liability.
Like, for
on
most,
defense.
not now. Like, now he's a lot better. But like, for a lot of the Warriors' like success, he was bad to like constantly being targeted in the playoffs on defense, right? Like, you can't be like Draymond had to clean up for that, right? Like, that's the reason why they maintain that top 5 defense.
Okay, Steph Curry averaging, especially 2016, averaging 30 points a game. Like, that's not an average level offense compared to defense to really measure the defensive impact. Steph Curry makes so many shots, can get on fire in an instant, that sometimes it doesn't even matter about their defense because they're producing so much.
Let me chime in here real quick.
They had a top 5 defense.
Let me
Okay, so if you're a
let me chime in real
liability,
quick.
then that means how the hell do you lead the the league? in
If you
steals
say the
during
league
those
in
times?
steals, I'm gonna.
Okay,
Oh my god,
that's
steals are
hold
not
on,
enough.
Hold on.
Steals are not.
One at a time, people. One at a time.
One mic.
Let me chime in
Okay,
here.
go.
Are you talking Draymond? Were you just comparing Draymond to this era or of all time?
All time. It's all time.
I don't.
Dude,
Again,
dude,
like,
okay.
I'm not of the opinion that he's like the GOAT defender. I'm not saying that. I think that my problem is that
What's your
put him at
stance
3.
then?
My problem is that I put him at like 3, right? Like, I think that like he himself is fine. Like, he's in the realm where like I'm fine with him believing that, right? I wouldn't put him there. But, like, I'm fine with him believing that. I'm fine with people arguing it. But like, people act like he's like people.
I
feel like
understand that, and I agree with that. But what I'm asking you is, what's your stance? Do you think you? I know you said you don't think Draymond's the GOAT, but where would you rank him?
I put him at 3.
You top 3 defender of all time.
I put him at 3.
Okay, so let me. I would you. What do you prefer? Do you prefer a defender that can take on a matchup and lock down or make it hard on an offensive player? Because I value that more than what Draymond does. Because Draymond's a great team help defender, but he can't individually guard his matchup and give them problems.
Josh,
No,
I value. He was never that kind of defender.
I think that's
you
where
would
guys
always
are
like
wrong.
in
I
terms of
value
wing,
what Gary Payton did
Andre would
to
have to
Michael
guard
Jordan. I value what Gary Payton did to Michael Jordan more than what Draymond does. I value what Drew Holiday does more than what Draymond does.
I think that one. We know that help defense is more valuable than isolation defense, especially in the regular season. Like, we know that. That's a fact. There's a reason that the main defensive player of the years are rim protectors, because they're on-off metrics. Like the Sixers, for example, right? Like, relative to like whether or not Simmons is on or off the court doesn't impact their defense as much as whether or not Embiid's on or off the court, right? Like, we know that having an elite help defender that affects multiple plays in a given possession is more important than having someone that locks down the field. The problem with those guys,
we have to kind of give a context in terms of how defense are kind of being played today, right? Because
exactly.
Because
it was even more.
It's a switching era. It's not.
Wait, one at a time, boys. Wait.
Can I?
Let Charles finish his point, and then Soma, you can go next, and then Josh Minard, you can go after him.
The value of having kind of a switchable defender, a switchable big, like that has massively increased thanks to the modern era of spacing out the bigs and taking advantage of the Rudy Gobert's, right? The reason why Rudy Gobert's defense doesn't translate to the playoffs is that it's so easy to take advantage of the fact that he can't really guard a switch, right? That being said, Draymond having both that defensive player of the year help instincts and those that help defense, and having that value, right? That value that's far above isolation and individual isolation defender, and being able to continue that in the playoffs, right? That's what makes him such a unicorn on that end, right? Maybe not unicorn, because KG did that. And not only that, right? When you say that he wasn't a type of guy that would guard 1 through 5, he did. right? Like they put him on Westbrook when they needed to. They put him on X number one guy when they needed to, when that was what they called for in the given matchup, because that's one of the reasons that made him so effective in the playoffs, right? Is that he could be an elite help defender while also guarding 1 through 5. Like again, like he has an argument.
Okay. Soma's next.
So just a quick
ahead,
context, right? We have to kind of put into context that I think Draymond's sort of skill set really suits in today's era because of the switching era and the perimeter play. So I think that as a defender, his stuff is a little bit more nuanced, right? Like he's great at switching. I mean, he's great at being able to blitz. You understand these kind of reads and giving kind of like his size. Like he is a unicorn in that sense, but like I don't think it's definitive that he's the GOAT of defense. I just say in this era, he's one of the more.
We've all agreed on that, though. We've all agreed on that. Like everyone, even Charles said he doesn't think he's the GOAT defender, but Charles said that he's top 3. And what I'm saying, if you're talking about him being a unicorn and him being able to switch, he's not even the best at that. I would take guys like Giannis. I'll take who am I forgetting of? Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman could do that.
And Scottie Pippen.
He could lock up Shaq and then go and guard Michael Jordan.
It's like combining that, right? It's combining that with having elite help.
So him saying, hold on. You saying that he's top 3? Like I even think that's crazy. I think you're not looking at all the great defenders, because even if you want to give Draymond that case of him being a unicorn and him being able to switch 1 through 5 and him with his help defense, there's still other guys that you would take. Even AD can do that better.
The thing is, AD did that for one playoff series, right? Like not series. He did that for one playoff run. That was last year, right? Where he had like he scratched
he was significantly better at it than Draymond.
No, he scratched the level of playoff defensive value that Draymond was doing for every single playoff series, right? Like that's why I'm like,
whoa,
that's why I'm like we are quick to forget. Like we're quick to forget in a lot of those series. Like there are arguments that Draymond was the most impactful player, right? Like we're quick to forget how dominant he was as a defender.
Can I say, anybody else want to say anything? Kevin, Lucas, anybody else want to comment on this before I say something on it?
Yeah, man, I'm really sorry.
Okay,
Kevin, go ahead.
right.
I'll go after you, man.
I was about to say, like, Draymond is a great defensive player, and he should feel like he is. I guess he should feel like he is the greatest. But like, defense, like, it's a whole bunch of different like aspects to it, and the situation too, like for Rudy Gobert, like obviously he's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year multiple times because all he does is play defense. That's the main job. Like, there's other great defensive players in the league, like I just listed in the chat, that's not their primary focus. Like Jimmy Butler, he has to carry a team offensively while also being the team's best defensive player too. Drew Holiday, kind of the same thing with the Bucks, even though they don't put the bonus points like that. But like, look at LeBron. Like, people don't even understand LeBron's one of the greatest defenders ever too. But it's because his offense is so crazy that we don't really pay attention to it. So
Thank you.
It's a lot of different things that go into it. But like,
the thing is,
like,
Draymond's defense is more valuable to his team, or like his impact on that is more valuable to his team than any of the guys that you just named, right? Like Jimmy Butler, LeBron, even Marcus Smart, right?
Not Dennis Rodman.
Marcus Smart, best defender, the best perimeter defender.
We're comparing him to all time. Charles, hold on. We're comparing him to all time.
Okay.
I know. I'm just putting in the context.
I just want to add something like, would you say like, okay, has Draymond ever had winning plays? Well, he actually has. I would say Kyle Lowry, but I would even add that like Andre was really valuable in terms of defense during the Warrior run.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've actually seen. Okay, do you remember in Game 3 where LeBron had an opportunity to tie the game after KD hit the clutch shot? Who had the strip off? Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, you're right. Andre's a good defender.
Yeah, and then like the Dame Lillard shot.
Sorry.
I mean, go ahead.
We've seen how effective those defenses are without Draymond, and the answer is not very, right? Like that's the answer, right? Like we know how valuable he is, even if again you're not maybe not seeing him all the time lock down everyone, but like what you're not seeing is that his positioning, right? Like his deterrence, right? The fact his force, his presence, right? It's like having Gobert
No
that
one,
can
no one,
switch.
no one. I agree with everything you're saying.
We all agree with that. I think we all
I
agree
think,
with that one, right?
but
We're all
you're
in the same page.
overrating. You're overrating his dominance. And again, we're comparing him to all-time defenders. I could.
Wait, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, what?
Okay. Let me put in this context. Let's just take out all time. Let's just talk about the last 10 years. And here's what I'm going to say. Okay, guys. Literally, based on the sample size we've had for the past 10 years since the 2010, 2011 season, or even the 2010 season, I'm looking at these guys. You know, Kawhi Leonard can do all those things. Now, his switchability, him switching instincts are a little bit different. His defense is different, right? You're talking about he can stop. Yeah, Draymond can stop guys at the rim. Kawhi Leonard can keep them going from the rim in the first place.
One person,
and that's what we're not thinking about.
That's the thing.
He can help pretty good, but Kawhi Leonard can help too.
But he's not a good of a help defender as Draymond, right? That's the thing.
But his overall value
defender.
We're saying that
Draymond
can't lock down anybody.
He's a better overall defender. He's a better.
Okay, could we agree on this one point? All right. Could we say that Draymond is one of the more balanced defenders of all time?
He's the most versatile defender of all time.
Boom.
No.
I know.
No.
Yeah.
He's for sure up there.
All right, guys.
Have you ever?
So let's try it this way. All right. So whoever's saying he's third best all time. All right. So take these players: Dennis Rodman, Hakeem, Bill Russell, Wilt,
I would put Will in there.
Kawhi,
not Will.
Michael
You would
Jordan,
put Bill
all those.
Russell.
Okay,
Scottie Pippen.
You mean to tell me the only? Or Pippen. You mean to tell me the only two of those listed players are a better?
Bill Russell and KG
better
are the only players I'm confident in saying are better than Draymond. Everyone else,
Dude?
Why would I'm not saying Bill Russell's
Rodman?
better defense than Dennis Rodman.
How are you going to say Bill Russell when you never saw him play defense?
That's what I'm saying.
Bro,
I mean,
Bill Russell.
There's like three people alive that watch
I
Bill Russell.
understand, Charles. I understand, but you're going off people that you saw. I don't understand.
Exactly.
how you
That's
can
just
watch
My argument.
Dennis Rodman.
that's the eye test from 50 years ago. You can't go off of that. There's no stats.
Bill Russell.
Okay, all right.
Bill Russell led the league's best defense for 10 of 11 years, right? Like that's insane. Right, his level of defensive, freaking.
He led the league's best defense.
You're putting a guy from 2 playoff runs where his defense was great. Really, 2 playoff runs where his defense was great. Comparing him to guys like Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman's the most versatile defender, in my opinion, ever.
I don't think he's more versatile than Draymond.
What?
I mean,
Dennis Rodman's an amazing defender.
I'm not.
Guys. Can I recontextualize this conversation? What, guys? Let's recontextualize this, right? Because I think we're getting. Some people are feeling that perimeter defense or the balance of the two with rim protection is more valuable. And to me, I'm just going to give my opinion on this, right? I'm just judging for the last 10 years. You can't tell me that Draymond's the most valuable defender when his defense is not the sole reason why the team goes up in points. Dwight Howard has led his teams to the finals. Giannis has led his teams against great comparable defenses.
The Warriors have had top 5, during those runs.
The Warriors
were
have
top 5 defenses along with top 5 offenses. I know.
I get that.
You're saying Draymond was more valuable on defense than Ben Wallace.
Yeah.
No.
Dude.
No.
What is this guy talking about?
No.
What is this guy talking about?
Bro, let me put it like this, okay? Draymond Green does not look at right now. He's not even top 20 in his own league right now without Steph Curry.
Oh, hold up.
What is up with that?
Oh, he's top 20, dog. That's a
Yeah.
No. Literally in the
defensive one.
Right
he's
now,
26.
defensive one. I would say
saying
top
that.
10 at least, man.
Hold on.
No, he's 26 right now in defensive win shares. He's not even in the top 20.
Brandon. My thing is if we want to go we can argue back and forth what's more valuable, perimeter and off-ball defense, or team defense and his versatility. If I'm just going, if we give Charles his point of Draymond's versatility and what Draymond is good at and what he's known for, right? If we give him that, there are players in the last 10 years who are doing what Draymond can do, but better.
I agree. We haven't
ask you a
seen
question,
that
man.
level of production from them in the playoffs on the defensive end. Like that's
Bro, Giannis. Wait.
What are you talking about?
How can you wait? Can I say something?
The
How
only
can
series
you?
I can think of is the Portland series. What are you talking about?
I'm saying
the
we
only
haven't
series
seen
was
that
right.
level of defensive production from them in the playoffs from like
Like-
sustained point of view. Like it's like with Draymond, it's been like 5 years. Like with these guys, it's been like a year and a half. You know. And again with the case of Giannis, like he hasn't even shown the same level of defensive of value that he showed in the regular season in the playoffs. So it's like,
Whoa! Wait a second. The problem with that is that Giannis makes his team a better defensive team by himself. Like there's no other person that you could point to.
It's just we're not.
No,
again, like we
no,
didn't
he has
focus on that
Iguodala
because
in a whole cast of pieces. He's a great help defender, but Giannis can do what he does and anchor.
Are you
his
saying that
offense.
Draymond's not the best defender on that team?
Brandon.
No, Draymond.
No, he is. He is.
I would say,
no,
but
that's
I would
not what I'm
say,
saying.
But
does
can we add the
Giannis
value of like Draymond being
does
able
Giannis have
to
an Iguodala
anchor?
on his team? Does Giannis have an Iguodala on his team?
Well, now he does.
if
well,
you
now with
replace
Drew Holiday.
Like when I say this, like if you like, I can only name like maybe four, like if I'm stretching it, players that you could replace Draymond on that Warriors team, and their defense would be at the same level. Like that's why I'm saying like he's that level, he's that type of defender. Where
Well, I mean,
like,
if he's,
Yeah,
why
he
is
had-
why is he?
Brandon.
Why
You
is he?
keep going
why
back
is
to
he-
Iguodala. You keep going back to Iguodala. So we had Iggy, Klay Thompson, and then who else?
Your argument is the fact of Draymond's impact in these playoff runs. I can name you all-time defenders that have had way more impact than Draymond. You can't tell me, you can't sit here with a straight face and tell me that Draymond had more defensive impact than Ben Wallace. Than Dennis Rodman on the Bad Boy Pistons.
Bro,
I mean,
you can. We were even making a case over here that Joakim Noah on the 2014. No, stop. No, listen.
Stop that. Stop
Listen,
that.
listen.
2014.
Yo, Brandon.
No, listen.
Brandon. Let Ryan and Nazim up. They want to talk.
I said Dennis Rodman, Brent. I said Dennis Rodman. With the
No. But I'm just saying, just for a comparison. No, I'm not saying that he's better, but I'm just saying that there's a clear correlation with Joakim Noah being the best defensive player on that team because they were 28th in offense and they were second in defense, and that was because of him.
And what made the Warriors a dynasty wasn't their offense, right? It was the fact that they maintained a top 5 playoff offense and defense, and the person responsible for the other half of that equation was Draymond.
Exactly. Draymond was leading that defense.
I get it.
Like
that
that's what
you're
makes them one of
absolutely
the greatest teams of all time, if not the greatest, right?
I get that.
Charles,
I get that. But if we're talking about defensive impact, like, is he more of a defensive impact player than Dwight Howard?
Yes.
Dwight Howard's won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. What?
Cool.
He's
Like
won
Dwight
3
Howard
awards.
loses again, especially in the modern era. Dwight Howard loses his
Does
value.
Dwight
in the
Howard
playoffs.
have a championship ring as a defensive? As the
main
defensive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What?
Like has
Draymond Green isn't even the man of his own team.
How's he not?
What kind of
How's he
comparison?
he's
not?
the anchor
On the
of it.
defensive
Like
end,
he's the
yeah.
communicator. He's the one that
He's what's holding down
He's
the
the holding
bench
down.
and
Okay,
the
so
starting
what
lineup.
you're telling-
So what you're telling me is
how
if we
would
remove
that switch coverage even work without Draymond's
Like if you
wouldn't.
replace Draymond
I
with
wouldn't.
Dwight,
I get
if you
it. I
replace
get that.
Draymond
It
with
would-
He
it
would get
wouldn't.
killed with
Yes.
every single
Okay.
screen.
Have you watched the Warriors this year? And when James Wiseman is not communicating, and how the Warriors is getting killed.
Yes, I've seen it. I get that. But bro, like there's a difference between helping your team, and he's helped a lot, right? But then there's a difference between that and anchoring your team's defense like Dwight Howard did.
Draymond
So-
is anchor. Draymond is
But
an
I
anchor.
think this point, when you have to think about GOAT, you also have to think about certain intangibles as a defender. right? You also have to say like how he motivates the team in terms of being able to be a defensive anchor. That's value there.
So wait.
Did
So
it at the highest level. So he has to be within that conversation.
I'm saying that Dwight Howard led his team to the finals with no other discernible superstar like Steph Curry.
Did he win that year?
No, he didn't.
I mean, but
He led them to the playoffs. He was the best player. He was
That's
their
cool.
best player.
That's cool. That's cool. That's
like,
cool.
again, like, I'm
like,
we're
bro,
not arguing
he-
that
that-
Draymond
no,
that's cool,
Does he
dude.
have a
What does that mean?
Did Dwight Howard have a Klay Thompson on his team? Because I sure didn't.
Nah,
see one.
he didn't. You're right. He didn't.
Like, so the
He beat LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals to go to the finals, man.
That's cool. That's cool. That's really
Draymond
really
Green
cool.
couldn't repeat that if he didn't have Steph Curry in his
guys,
corner.
like, I'm
He
not
couldn't
saying that
repeat that.
Draymond is a better
Because
player.
Draymond is
I'm
not as
saying-
good offensively as Dwight was.
No.
Exactly. Like, we're not saying Draymond's a better player overall. It's just like he's a
Draymond
better
also
defender.
isn't a 7 foot freaking
Yes,
with
and a
seven
freaking freak
three
athlete.
wingspan.
And that's
Right.
what makes it even more.
And a GOAT rim
Exactly.
protector like Dwight Howard was. I have a
Because
question.
because Dwight is a freak athlete from birth.
Okay, so
Draymond is a chubby
that goes against
6'6"
them?
guy.
Well,
He's defending the best player on.
I have a
So wouldn't that
question.
say about the quality of the defender
Hold
the
on,
fact
hold on,
that
I
at
have-
6'6"
I have a question.
and a little girthy and
question.
chubby, that this guy can even
A
be a
lot because he's still in the conversation with these athletic from birth guys, 7 foot with a 7'7" wingspan.
Wait, I just have a question. So defense has evolved from like the 80s and now, right? We can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
We can all agree on that. So we can't compare Draymond to those other guys. But
offense has evolved also.
Gary, exactly.
I'm fine with that. But I also think that specifically Bill Russell, like, just based on his
but-
dominance in
Bill
this
Russell
era.
would not.
Hold on, let me finish my point.
He wouldn't
The
survive.
point I was trying to make-
No, stop it. Don't say that. Don't say
Bill
that.
Russell in the modern era, he'd
No,
be
no,
like,
he wouldn't.
You
No.
listen,
Like
let me finish
we
my
have
He'd
to
be
be
like
better
Andre
point
Drummond.
in terms
oh
of
my
how
God.
the evolution of the game is being played, because it's like, have you seen these guys now? Like we can go back. We
my
can go.
point for saying that. My point for saying that was I was trying to. What I was trying to say is the fact that we have to compare which guy was more impactful in their era.
Mhm.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I feel personally that Dennis Rodman, what he did in his era, was way more impactful than Draymond Green. That's
Okay.
I agree.
Are you talking about Dennis Rodman?
Can I
That's
say-
what Pistons
I
or
agree.
Dennis
way
Rodman?
more impactful.
Okay,
What
can I
What team?
can I say something
Dennis
about
Rodman,
that
what
point?
team? Are you talking about the Bulls or the Bad Boy Pistons?
Pistons, right?
Both.
Okay, but he also had
No.
like 2 other all-time defenders on both of those teams.
Yeah,
that's true.
you can't-
man, because Michael was an
thing
incredible
is-
defender too, and Scotty.
The
Exactly.
thing is,
And then on the Pistons, it's even worse. He had, Bill
And
had
damn,
Beard,
Joe
Rick
Dumars.
That's what I'm saying.
Forgetting.
Isaiah
Joe
Thomas.
Joe Dumars, like you can't really
Exactly.
really say that.
Can I ask y'all a question?
yeah.
What do y'all value most on defense? Like
IQ.
It's not a question of what you value most. Like there's an answer, right? Like
What do you
help
think is
defense,
most valuable
help
to
defense and rim protection
has to
are
be-
more valuable.
It has
than
to be IQ. If you have top-tier defensive IQ, it doesn't matter what type of player you are,
Wait,
which
no,
Draymond
I agree on
has.
Leon. I agree with Leon.
I value.
It's got to be your versatility
I
over
value what
IQ.
AD can do.
That's true. That's true.
Help defense and rim protection are more valuable than isolation defense. So that's a fact, right? Like that's as close to a fact.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
as
in
The
today's
help
game.
defense
today's
falls
game.
into IQ. In
No,
today's
in
game,
all
yeah.
games, right? In today's
are
game,
we
No, because you couldn't
in
play
today's
help
game-
defense.
Today's game,
You couldn't play help
You
defense.
couldn't
the
always
downward
play
game.
help defense.
In today's
You couldn't
game,
go in the
value
zone.
has decreased because the game is spaced out more, and how like help defenders like Gobert, right? They get exposed in the playoffs, right?
Exactly.
But back in the days where everything was compressed closer to the paint, having an elite 7-foot help defender or just great high IQ help defender, that was deterring like 4 shots. Like there, it was a monumental difference. This is why Bill Russell won so many freaking rings, because like he was one of those guys in that era where the game was so condensed.
All right, so in the
I
playoffs,
just don't
what do you guys think?
understand.
He also had a lot of help
Lay down.
too. Let's
I
not lie about
your
that. He had a lot of help.
Lay
Your
down.
arguments about Draymond's impact in the playoffs And I can argue that there has been guys in the last 12 years whose impact on defense, Dwight Howard,
No.
which was
No,
way
not in the playoffs.
more impactful than
No.
Draymond.
Kawhi Leonard 2014? Like anybody? Like
I'm a Kawhi fan, and like
he kind of served that same role in 2014.
he didn't. That's the thing. Like with Draymond, it's like you have to combine the fact that he gives you that elite like help defense that we know is more valuable, that we know is the deserving of the DPOYs, that we know is what actually makes you a good overall defense, right? While not losing that value in the playoffs and also being a stopper.
Draymond's
And
a
also
better
being a great stopper.
So Draymond Green's a stopper, like all comparably. Like if we say from 1 to 10 from perimeter defense, rim protection at the rim, what would you rate Draymond in those two sections of switchability? Since we're talking about it so much, so we can kind of get a scale
Draymond,
of what people are talking
he's
about.
a worse, like again with Draymond, he's a worse rim protector than like a Gobert, right? And he's also a worse like switch guy than like a Kawhi, right? His thing is that he's great at both. Right, and that means that he gives you that high end rim protection while not losing his value in the playoffs. Right, that's what makes him a unicorn. Like, there's only like one other player or two other players in NBA history that have done that for like the same amount of like longevity time that I can say Draymond did. That was like KG.
What about AD though? You
AD's done it for like a year. Again, like AD did it for like a year. Like the longevity with him. Like he could get to that level.
What year did you talk about?
AD has only been to the playoffs twice.
Was it the one with Drew
like,
Holiday?
we just don't have the same like we don't
sample
have the same
size.
amount of data. Yeah, we don't have the same sample size. With Draymond, we've seen him do it for like 5 years.
Fed.
But we saw, but again, we saw Dwight do it until he started having back injuries.
Like, bro, he manned some of the best defenses in the league at the time. Like, I don't.
Even though Dwight obviously could not switch on to guards, but his impact, regardless, his rim protection was just more impactful.
That's cool. His impact
was
at
worst,
the rim, but guess what? People can shoot 3-point shots.
It was not much more impactful than Draymond, whatever Draymond was giving you. It was just more impactful. That's why he went to the finals.
Look. Dwight never had to step out in the perimeter and guard a player like Stephen Curry or Damian Lillard, right?
Wait. Can I
guards
say something to that? He's one of the few centers to survive Steph Curry, basically eviscerating most big men. I mean, there's something that has to be said for his value while still surviving in this league.
Dwight?
Draymond, Anthony did. No, Dwight wouldn't have survived.
Dwight surviving now. He's not even
he's
good.
Not.
Have you seen that Houston Rockets
He's
series?
not the same.
Yeah,
like obviously, I feel like
he's not
y'all
the
are
same.
talking about Orlando.
No, but this
Dwight.
isn't close to the same defense. Like this isn't the Dwight we're talking about in this conversation.
Exactly. Like you can't really put this Dwight and 2012
know, but I'm just saying
Dwight.
For reference, like you're saying that we've seen a sample size of a post prime Dwight playing defense in this league. Like we act like this dude's been retired since Steph Curry's been in the league. We see what this guy could do. We see his value in the playoffs. We literally saw it last year.
Well, but like it's not his defense. Like that was AD, right? Like the
and I get that. But we have at least some information to kind of point us in a direction, bro. Prime Dwight Howard would still be a great all-time great defender, even in today's game, which y'all are arguing against.
I think
so.
Like
he'd be closer.
But Rudy Gobert's a dominant defender.
I just don't trust
he'd be
Dwight's
closer to
IQ.
You're right. Yeah, he'd be closer to Gobert.
Where it's like he's the best. Like he's arguably the best rim protector in the league. But like
once he steps out in that perimeter, like
to the playoffs.
When Rudy Gobert guards Jokic or Joel Embiid, then it's kind of a messy.
Like I'm not like I don't really care about that aspect. It's just like I'd still have questions about like whether or not he could handle like being, small versus going against small ball like Draymond, right? Like whether or not he could handle the spaced out league.
Well, I mean, based on that, Giannis would be a better defender than Draymond. Like,
no,
like what?
Again, sample size.
It's sample size, right? Like
Giannis has been an elite defender for the past 3 years.
Yeah, like AD has like scraped that level of defensive impact last year, right? The one that we've seen from Draymond during those Warriors runs. He scraped that last year. Giannis hasn't done that yet.
Yeah.
Okay. We all know Kevin Garnett. I feel like he's the best IQ defender of all time.
I think KG, I put him at 2.
Ben Wallace, to
KG's great.
me, like, okay, there's a case to be said that Ben Wallace, because he had such a great defensive team, having Billups also a great perimeter defender, one of the better ones in point guard history.
Okay, but would you like say a team has number one defense and then the best defender on a number one defensive team is the best defender in the league?
Dude, you're valuing the help defense and the switching. Like, you don't think that if you plugged out Dennis Rodman
for Draymond,
would do exactly.
The Warriors would be a worse defense. Dennis Rodman is probably a better switch guy than Draymond, but the Warriors would be a worse defense because he doesn't have that help aspect. Right, like that's
Dennis Rodman would have the help aspect that Draymond has.
He doesn't. Like that's the thing. Like
when did Dennis Rodman play help defense? Because you couldn't. So when did Dennis Rodman play help defense?
I'm saying if you plug them from here to now.
Yeah. If you plugged him straight,
there's a lot of
89
between Dennis Rodman.
I feel like Dennis Rodman is closer to a Kawhi.
It's a whole lot. It's also a revolutionized offense. Like Dennis Rodman would be confused in this era because it's like, yo, why are people shooting so many threes?
What?
I'm also of the opinion that
I wouldn't say confused.
Yeah, I'm also the opinion that Dennis Rodman probably wouldn't be like, I don't know, as valuable in this era because of his limited offensive capabilities.
Yeah, there is no player like really comparable to Dennis Rodman.
Rebounding has never been a more devalued thing in the league.
Honestly,
like if that's all you offer.
Yeah, but you could say like as far as the season wise, but the playoffs, I would say that would be different as the pace slows down.
Yeah, maybe.
Like there's something to be said about like we've seen Dwight in the playoffs like have big defensive games against guys like LeBron James and stuff like that, but it's we've seen him anchor a defense. I think it's the way how these guys build a defensive team around themselves, whereas I feel like Draymond is the cap off of the Warriors. That's my main problem. But I also
think that if you were like, let's say like if you're a team and like that Draymond is who he is and you're giving like Draymond like 24 or 25 or whatever, and you're asking to like how am I going to win a championship with him as like my main guy that I'm starting off with, like you could build an all-time defense around him. Like,
let's say you
really wanted to.
Let's say you take Draymond off the 73-9 Warriors, right, and put him in on that Bulls team, the 72-10 Bulls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do vice versa with Dennis Rodman. I say the Bulls
are better,
exactly,
and the Warriors are worse
because Draymond is locking up almost every player in the league because they have such limited offensive skills.
He's probably also the best passer on that team too.
True.
No. I'll probably say Scottie Pippen's the best passer on that team.
So you think
Scottie Pippen over Draymond? Playmaking?
You think they could put do you think they could put fucking Draymond on Shaq?
They could try. Certainly.
I don't know, like how many players could you put on Shaq? Like
that is Rodman.
Yo, can I make a case for?
Alright, cool. That's one player, Shaq.
What's up, Emmanuel?
Oh God, Emmanuel.
So he's not the GOAT, by the way. I don't think Ben Wallace is the GOAT of defense, but like I feel like Ben Wallace in like this era, especially being a small ball center, if he just developed like a midi or something, he'd be perfect.
Who, Ben Wallace?
Yeah.
I think Ben Wallace would be better in this area. Like I agree.
We have little to no stats to go off of Ben Wallace's amazing defense, quote unquote.
I mean, he could guard the perimeter better than Rodman, right?
I'm just saying we have little to no stats. Or not Ben Wallace.
I think Rodman.
I was thinking about Bill
Russell. We haven't even said Hakeem Olajuwon, bro. His defensive IQ's through the roof, bro.
Hakeem was crazy.
Like another dude who could
I'm surprised y'all said Bill Russell over him.
Yeah. Hakeem could probably do a little something on the perimeter.
Hakeem was
dude? He literally turned backwards and blocked John Stark's shot. Like,
he's literally one of the best all-around centers ever.
Yeah.
Yo, let Ryan up. He wants to make a case for Draymond.
Like did you think like I'm like Charles? Did you think throughout like all the defenders all the great defenders in NBA history, and you just came to the conclusion that, yep, Bill Russell, KG, Draymond.
Well, with Bill Russell,
bro.
wait,
so underrated.
With Bill Russell,
so underrated.
I think that his sheer dominance in his era, like given that before he got there, right, they were a bad defense. He gets there, they're suddenly an all-time defense, and they are. For
who's playing defense?
For the entirety.
I mean, we're talking about 10-team sample size.
Yo, one mic.
They are for the entirety of his career. And they are for the entirety of his career, and it's like that we haven't seen that, right? Like we've seen players
who was
the
more
longevity combined with that, that makes me think, all right, Bill Russell's the guy.
Charles, who was more dominant in their era? Dennis Rodman or Draymond?
Yeah, Draymond. Draymond's again more valuable defender than Dennis.
I'm not talking about.
He said more dominant. In their era, it's Dennis Rodman.
I mean, Rodman's more known for his rebounding than his defense.
It's not.
That's kind of true. If you look at Dennis Rodman's, if you look at Dennis Rodman's basic defensive stats, they're not that great. He got his DPOI mostly because he could get defense.
Like he got his DPOI in an era where they were giving guards.
Exactly, he got his DPOI. We're not going to say that Gary Payton's DPOI was not earned. First off,
he got that in a big man.
Yeah.
Ryan's list. I'm fine with that. Like that's cool. I just think that Draymond has an argument. Like I personally have him at 3, but I think he has an argument with any of those guys. Although I put Bill Russell at 1.
I don't know about Bill Russell because I feel like we don't have enough advanced stats to go and say if Bill Russell is the greatest defender of all time.
First of all, wait.
That Bill Russell's teams were a lot worse without him on the court versus with him on the court.
Okay,
even relative.
Okay, but you could really say that for a lot of players.
No, but even relative to other stars, right? We're comparing that to other Hall of Fame caliber players, and it's even among them, he's top 10, right? That just shows his defensive value. And
does it show its defensive outing, or does it show his defensive leadership capabilities? Because he might have just been a general on defense.
Well, that's cool. It didn't matter because when he wasn't on the floor, they couldn't defend, but they were just much worse, right?
I think back then, we had to bring some context to the conversation because back then the rules were a lot different.
Exactly.
There were a lot.
They were practically beating each other up.
It was the prime value back then was people who could defend the rim, right? And using the 11 championships, and I know defensively his stats are just insane, right? For his value, for his period of time. But how much of that comes from his inflated rebounding numbers? Because they had 70 opportunities a game compared to the 46 now.
I don't care about
that stat is somewhat inflated.
That's true.
If you can't use defensive wing shares. Now, to me, Bill Russell's the greatest defender per era just because you see some little stuff that he does, like tracking the ball with his hands. Important. Like, when he tracks his ball per hand, I've only seen this with a couple of defenders, Hakeem, and, guys like KG. They will track the ball. They won't. This will make them less susceptible to upfakes, right? They'll track the ball with their hand instead of trying to meet the ball like a normal person would. It's little stuff like that, like IQ stuff that I can say, yes, Bill Russell is the greatest defender of all time because not only is he the first one, but he's the most dominant one to do that. But some of his dominance comes from lack of spacing, lack of three-point line. It's all these mitigating factors. But I think to counteract that, I think Bill Russell will be a great perimeter defender just because of his athleticism and size and his great footwork.
I don't think he'd get torched on in the modern era. I don't think he'd have the same value. He'd just be a supercharged.
He definitely wouldn't have the same value, but he'd be like Rudy Gobert mixed with Andre Drummond.
Yeah, he'd be a supercharged Gobert.
He'd drag down a lot of rebounds.
I think it'd be
hit a midi.
Would you
I think
Go ahead.
I think Bill Russell is definitely a more valuable defender than Dennis Rodman, and I like Dennis Rodman, but I think there's some IQ issues there when he can't see the ball. I think he can lose track of it a good bit of the time. Whereas if he's on ball, he's all time great. But when he's off ball, he can't. I don't think he can anticipate because great defenders anticipate plays coming before they even come. KG's the greatest anticipation player.
I think that was a large part. Wait. But one thing, to put into context for people saying that we're overrating Bill Russell, Bill Russell would be if Rudy Gobert led the best defense every year and won the chip every year. right? Like with this Jazz team, basically, right? Like, and they won the shit almost every year while leading the best defense every year.
There are 18, but you can't say that because there were 9 teams in the league. So it was easier to win the title back then as compared and lead the league in defense compared to it is now. You can't use that as a sole metric.
But like with Rudy Gobert off the floor, they were one of the worst defenses in the league, even with like average backup centers. Like it's like you see his value, right? Like you see that, and
you see the inkling of the value, but you can't use stats to really try to judge Bill Russell because some of that is inflated numbers. And some of that is because there were only 9
some of the stats don't exist.
So, and plus, guys got way more competition now. Yeah. You know, say they have to face way more varied offenses and defenses, and we can make a theory based on you know the little stuff that we see in Bill Russell's game, him being such a probably the most high IQ defender we've ever seen in the game, and pioneering most of the great defenses to come, but.
We don't really have all the footage on Bill Russell, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying
I'd say that he was probably more of a defensive general on the court, directing guys, than like a Draymond, a KG, or even a Dennis Rodman. He was probably more of a general on the court. That's why he's a more valuable defender. But I wouldn't say that like their IQs are insanely far off.
I'm not saying he'd do the same things today, obviously not, again, harder competition, more talent, et cetera. But I am saying that that's the level of dominance that we're talking about.
But I mean, it's like saying, it's like then saying because the 60s, Wilt is not one of the GOATs. Like, we clearly see some things ability-wise, and a lot of people don't take into context rule sets, right?
You said Wilt isn't a GOAT?
No, I'm saying Wilt. That's why some people say Wilt isn't the GOAT because of different. Like
at least
he
was dominant regular season, but in the playoffs he had to. Yeah, exactly.
But we saw his true value when he got put in the triangle offense and he nearly averaged a triple double. He pretty much screwed on Bill Russell.
And he decided to only score.
You talking about on the Lakers, right?
And
no, he was still on the Sixers. He was on the 76ers for that.
That must have been that had to be the end of his career on the Sixers.
No. He was still in his prime.
This is off tangent, but Wilt's teams were almost always better when he decided to score less.
Yeah, and that's just a style, and that's just limited information, right? Guys got more information.
Wilt probably averaged like dang near a quadruple double. Like, let's be honest, he was doing everything on that court for almost the entire game.
He probably like if they average blocks, him and Bill probably were getting 15 blocks a game.
Somebody knows. A statistician actually was tracking it for a little while, and they said that, and this is official NBA statistician, like one of the greatest statisticians that's ever done the game. He was tracking steals and blocks before the league did, just to see, and he threw most of them away. But the stat sheets that we do have from, I think, the 1965 season, Will was averaging 8 blocks a game. Yeah, just as a side note.
Like, because he's crazy.
Like, I think Wilt's defense was better than his offense.
People always try to say because Wilt was like a giant in that league, but average height for an NBA player was 6'6", same as it is now.
Like, but wouldn't you also equate with the quality of players that we have now?
Okay. The problem. Okay, wait,
the centers though.
What?
The centers were Nate Thurman. Like, do we not like see like great centers in that era? It's always era relative. Right? You can't say.
Yeah. Damn, I'd give you. I'd say Hakeem the GOAT in terms of defenders, bro.
Didn't Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain got drafted in like 59?
Hakeem had to go against Moses.
No, I think
a little bit of
Kareem.
Shaq.
I thought it was 59. Hold up.
Just answer that. Is Draymond a better defender than Tim Duncan?
I would say no.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would, but he
can do more defensively than Tim can.
We had to reevaluate if we're going to compare centers.
Tim Duncan may be better than Draymond in 2 or 3 certain aspects, but Draymond,
guys, because we also have to think about system value, how much value he's bringing to the system. Right, Tim Duncan now would be a small ball center because he has the gravity at the rim.
He was always a center, right? He just played power forward.
I know.
He was always a center. He couldn't.
Because David Robinson.
Yeah. Like, I think what makes me say yes to the Draymond thing is that Draymond could do what Tim did and lead elite defenses.
Ooh.
But Tim would, like, the Warriors would be worse. With the Warriors would be a worse playoff team with Tim at the center than with Draymond.
Nah, that's actually, no, it's not true only because of what Tim Duncan can do offensively.
Or at least on their defense.
About defense.
Their defense. Their defense. That's why.
Yeah, we're talking about defense. The Warriors would definitely be worse.
You're comparing a power forward to a center, a small ball center at that point, because if let's just say they,
I mean, both of them are small ball fives. Although Tim is
no. Can we stop? Because if you replaced them on that team, Iggy would probably play small ball 4 for switchability purposes. So combining that fact with a
Harrison
really
Barnes?
worse.
I mean, yeah, because on those Warriors team, what made them so deadly on defense, like you couldn't really expose anyone, right? Like there was no one, there was no Gobert, like there was no like slow-footed center where like Harden or like insert.
But
like,
he gives you Tim
back.
Duncan gives you a little bit of switchability.
He doesn't.
With a lot of rim protection, bro.
He doesn't. Like Tim Duncan was one of the greatest like help defenders / rim protectors and post defenders of all time, but like that was the element that made it bad. That was the element he was bad at. He couldn't switch. Like that's why KG was so impressive, because he was doing all that stuff, but he could also switch on the floor.
Like I get it. He's taking away a little bit of switchability, but I mean he can anchor your rim, bro.
So can Draymond. That's what makes him so impressive.
73-9 Warriors. What would most likely be the lineup is Curry, Clay, Iggy at the 3, and then Harrison Barnes and then Tim Duncan if we're replacing him, right? And that's not as good a team.
Well, it would be Harrison, then Iggy at 4 to be small ball 4, and then like Tim Duncan rounding interesting.
They're not. Steve Kerr is not placing Iggy at the 4.
Okay, so wait.
Played the 4 before. Y'all know that, right?
No, he's played the 4 before, but who would you rather have defensively? Okay, who?
And Tim can't play in that.
Tim
Duncan cannot play in that up and down.
They're way more better offensive wise. They're way more better small forwards in that league in that era than there are power forwards. So why would I place Iggy at the small ball 4, guarding a team's power forward probably, instead of just playing Harrison Barnes at the 4 with normal matchups?
Well, okay. I have a question.
Harrison Barnes
we act like
at that
we
time
didn't
is
see
not
the
defensively great.
Okay. I have a question. Okay, it's not. It's almost like we didn't see the 2015 Warriors have Andrew Bogut on their team. Like
Andrew Bogut is a pretty good defender too,
and he wasn't in like their really good lineups, right? Like he was a good kind of
was he in the
when they were pushing pace. Andrew Bogut was not on the floor.
Draymond at 5.
Exactly, it was Draymond at 5. Andrew Bogut was not playing the 4 when they were pushing the pace, like game win situations.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter situation.
But we've seen situations where he can play. He's played 5 before on that team, right?
Wait, Carrie, he would work. It's just not as well as Draymond defensively. That's the argument.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Like, because he's Tim Duncan, he's one of the greatest players of all time.
Exactly,
of course he's going to work on
because we're talking about defense. We're not going to add in his offense.
Yeah, especially in the
no, we're not adding in this. I mean, it wouldn't be debated.
Yeah, obviously.
No. I'm just saying.
There is the argument
because what you're saying is that switchability is everything, but Draymond, he bleeds some value at the rim.
Switchability is a lot, though.
It is, but like if we're talking about switchability, Giannis would be king.
It's just like Draymond being.
He's one of the most switchable players ever.
You're right, but he's only done that for the past 3 to 4 years, barely 4.
And really, that's better than what Draymond Green has ever done. Let's just be honest.
Facts.
That's better than what he's ever done. Put all of them against Giannis's last 3 to 4 years, and it just does not stack up.
Giannis hasn't shown that defensive value in the playoffs. Like that's
what
I can see
because he has to carry his whole team's defense.
Like we haven't seen that defensive value in the playoffs. Like the Bucks defense always Draymond have to versus the Warriors, who just always stayed steady and sometimes improved.
Are you trying to say that we have not seen Draymond have to put the Warriors on his back defensively? Because that'd be crazy.
Yes, at some points, but Giannis always has to have them on his back if the team is reliant on his defense. At times, Draymond, it doesn't even matter for Draymond Green because if Steph is hot, it doesn't even matter about the defense. At that point.
Right, but what does that say more about team setup than actual player-to-player comparisons?
Like they always had like elite defenses in the playoffs, and like you have to give them credit for that. And you have to say the Bucks just haven't. Right, like the regular season.
I mean, the Bucks don't have the defenders the Warriors did.
Always got. Do they? I mean, now.
No.
I mean,
like they have
they had
Middleton, but there are no Iguodala and like Livingston.
This year, I think they might because Drew, but yeah.
I mean, Drew even back from his injury yet? Or
I think so.
He just hit a game winner recently.
Yeah, I feel like that was pretty recent.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, okay, one person has to completely carry the defense on his back, whereas another person, yes, he can do it at times and can be switchable. But
I feel like
it's really not the same.
Defense. Like your argument is not the defense, it's the team. Like Draymond was carrying the defense on his back, not the team.
That's speaking more towards like the team structure and what the players have had to go through their careers and where they're at that point in time. Like Draymond has never had to do that because he was God blessed to be drafted to the Warriors, but Giannis got drafted to the Bucks, who were a terrible franchise for the first 5 years of his career.
They didn't make the playoffs the year they drafted him? Or no, I'm not tripping.
Well, they were because they drafted him in the teens, right? So
he was 15th overall.
2013 they made the playoffs. So I remember they was like, "Oh, we're gonna beat the Bulls," bro. I was like, "Nah."
I remember that.
Or that 2015.
All right, but like, didn't the Orlando Magic make the playoff in like 2018? But we all know the Magic were trash for like the past 5-6 years.
Stop it. Game went off. Give him that at least.
I ain't like
the reason why the Bucks have not been successful is just because of their offense.
Did you see MCW get a bloody nose?
They're also both sides of the ball.
That was tough, though.
The ball on their ends get worse in the playoffs.
I mean, bro, at some point you gotta be able to score at least at some rate. You can't just play all defense.
We're talking about scoring right now. We're talking about defense.
Yeah, I know, but that puts way more pressure on your defense though. If you can't score in half court.
All right, but if you can't, is it that you can't score or you're not really scoring to save up energy for defense? Because I feel like if Curry grew up in a situation where he was taught to play defense, right, he'd probably be like two-way.
Like right now he's basically a two. Like I'm not right now, but like he's getting there, right? Like he has average to above average defense nowadays. So it's like, I guess, if you want to call him a two-way.
I feel like that's front of his man, but is he above average? I don't think he's above.
No, average. it's because Curry lacks, like, his defensive IQ is okay. It's actually pretty solid. His basketball IQ by itself is amazing, but like, it's the way that Curry is built is why he can't defend.
Yeah. If he had like just his build, type body, he would be above average.
He's pretty. He's pretty good for like his build.
Yeah, his build.
Curry.
Or he just needs to work out.
They was because they were saying that in the draft that his build was going to make him like a fairly sorry NBA player when he got drafted. They were like, he's this little scrawny kid. He can't really do anything besides shoot and pass.
I mean, let's be honest. Most point guards Curry's size don't play defense. Like, let's be real.
Yeah, Trey. Like, the thing that came to mind is Trey Young.
Gosh, Trey Young.
Oh, only my God.
Don't get me started on that. You talking about IT Isaiah or
like Pistons? Yeah, Pistons. They're the only ones that can play defense while being really small.
I feel like, Isaiah Thomas actually, like, he always put the effort in on defense, even though he wasn't amazing.
So is there no account of accolades here? Because if it was based on accolades, I mean, we would say Dikembe Mutombo probably be at the top of that list.
If it were based
but
on
you could just say
MJ,
that Draymond is underrated.
If it's based on accolades, isn't MJ like the second best perimeter defender
you
of all
could,
time?
If it's based on accolades, you could just say Draymond's underrated. Like, there's always that.
He does have true. He deserved more. It's just like, again, if you're on the Warriors.
I mean, did he really?
Was he winning over Kawhi?
Yeah, I feel like he definitely deserved a couple more defensive teams.
No, I mean, does he deserve? But what about defensive player of the year? I mean, how?
No, he doesn't. Really... No, I'm not saying he deserves more defensive player of the years. I feel like that one was his best defensive outfit.
I'm fine with him deserving more because he, again, like,
he was the second best defender
for most of his
in
prime,
2016.
he was the best defensive player. Like, for most of his prime.
Who was the first best defender in your eyes in 2016?
Kawhi.
Oh yeah, that was back in Kawhi was like, okay,
2016.
You're not going anywhere. Let me see. Like, no one scored on Kawhi Leonard.
I mean, it's just Kawhi was the best perimeter defender and best switch defender. It's just, again, it's the same argument.
Hey, peak for peak, why might he be the best defender ever? I ain't gonna lie. Peak for peak.
Peak for peak.
If I'm saying who's the best,
Kawhi Leonard hasn't been in this peak though. Like,
who's the best ISO defender of all time? Maybe Kawhi, right? Like, I'll give you that, but not overall defender. I can't say that.
I mean,
nobody can guard a switch like Draymond.
What?
Nobody can guard a switch like Draymond.
Well, no bigs outside KG.
Yeah,
I mean, Kawhi blocked the shot with his middle finger. Y'all know that, right?
Yeah, like what are we talking about right now, guys? Like,
all right,
like we haven't even said David Robinson thing, bro.
I said David Robinson a while ago, and y'all were just looking at me crazy.
That's just Tim Duncan's a buddy. Let's be honest. He's just Tim Duncan.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
I'm joking. Come on.
I was about to say you're out of pocket. That's crazy.
He was an MVP without him. Yeah, I know. He was good.
Like,
David Robinson was amazing, but injuries got him.
Like, bro, do you now remember his vertical, bro? How fast?
True.
And he served in the military, so I gotta give him respect. You know, salute.
Oh yeah.
It's just that for the guys, like, because with defenders, it's a lot of it's.
Y'all said Hakeem already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all better say Hakeem.
Hakeem is the best all-around center of all time.
Facts.
How is he on the perimeter versus how? Like, imagine him having to guard like prime. He did this.
Yeah.
But imagine Hakeem like growing up in this era, like being like Cat with a 3-point shot or something.
Nah, I don't think he.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean,
you don't think he'd do that?
He just beat Embiid. Really, he just beat Embiid.
For defenders, a lot of it's like
still. I think Hakeem is better than Embiid all around.
And faster too, and more mobility.
And he plays better defense on the perimeter.
Mobility, high motor.
And
he's a skinnier Hakeem or a skinnier Embiid.
Yo, have you seen his crosses?
He'd be way better than Embiid.
He'd be
ball handling,
way better than
playmaking, rebounding, defensive wise, high
Hakeem
motor.
Is my GOAT center.
IQ, he's
Hakeem would definitely be better than Embiid.
The only player to ever win MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP.
Really?
Crazy.
And he's the all-time.
He did it all one season.
Do we have to remember how he basically just beat down David Robinson? Like,
oh yeah, he
and David Robinson's an all-time
defender. Oh my god, that was
he put the fear of God in David Robinson.
That was murder.
Who else should have gotten that trifecta, that MVP, Finals MVP, DPOY? Like Bill Russell?
Maybe LeBron.
Probably
but
Bill
LeBron,
or Wilt.
It's hard to give him a like. Okay, like if he were in the 90s,
he should have won DPOY.
Because, like,
and I hate LeBron.
90s, if he were in the 90s, where like they gave that to perimeter players
outside
of Kawhi, which was like Kawhi's 2016 season was so insane defensively that they actually gave a player that wasn't a rim protector a DPOY. Just keep that.
I mean, Draymond's not a rim protector.
The first award for defensive player of the year
he's a rim protector
was a guard won it 2 times in a row. Cindy Moncrief. I mean, yes, he won it twice.
But wasn't he playing? Was he not playing forward?
He's shooting guard. What?
No, I said, was he not playing forward that season? Because when Gary Payton won his DPOY, they're like, he was the first guard DPOY
No, he's the first
ever.
Point guard and only point guard.
Point guard, that's what it is. Yeah,
and bro, he back and see his value, and I'm gonna say this: his defensive value, he had to be a great defender on that team for them to get to the finals. Like, he was the main anchor defensively, and like, let's just say he has probably the most impressive defensive feat ever in history, shutting down Jordan for the games that he was on him. And let's not forget
that team. He won the series.
If they had started with Gary Payton on Jordan, they might have won that series and being a super team.
Bro, even
they probably would have.
They would have still lost.
GP's in my top 5 though, for sure.
I talked to Sam Perkins. He said they would have still lost, like on the locker room.
Really?
He said they still lost.
Yeah, I can believe it. I don't believe they would have won, but I believe it would be a lot closer game by game.
I mean, Sam Perkins was on the team, so like you should trust him.
No. I fully trust Sam Perkins. Like, I fully trust what he says, bro. Like, I'm just saying the way the way the series played out, they would have still lost to me because Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan just weren't going to let it happen. But it says something that Scottie Pippen tanked when Michael Jordan couldn't score.
I have a hot take. I don't think the Bulls were.
No, they weren't. Like, bro, Dennis Rodman wasn't even the All-Star.
They were.
No, they weren't.
They were.
What?
72-10 is not a super team.
That's interesting.
So super teams are made by record. That's not what makes a super team.
3 all defensive players.
Can I tell you why?
I mean, if the pre-KD Warriors, they're
top players in the league.
They're a super team if the pre-KD Warriors are a super team.
I don't think
they're not a super team.
You don't think they're a super team?
If you classify one of them as a super
who
team,
outside of the KD?
My definition of an MVP or a super team is having 2 MVP caliber players and another All-Star. So Curry,
Scottie Pippen's not MVP caliber player.
Not when he played with Jordan.
No, he's not.
In that 72-9 season,
led those teams
in that 72-9 season.
Finals.
No,
amazing.
No. Why do people keep saying it was the second round? It was the second round. It was not the conference final. People keep saying that. That's not
like Scottie
true.
was
They were in the conference
when he played with Jordan.
No, they were.
It was only after.
Okay, bro. Okay.
It was the second round.
It was the second round, bro. People keep saying that, and it's just not true.
Scottie Pippen's been in the MVP race before, except his teammate. His teammate is Jordan. So if the Bulls are good, then Jordan's getting credit,
wait
a
second. Hold up.
Stop.
I get it that he's underrated to a certain degree, like in that season, bro. But BJ Armstrong made the All-Star team, and his numbers literally did not change at all. So how, like,
I mean, it's just because BJ Armstrong, that's the real GOAT. Being honest.
But what about Scottie being a top 50 player?
Wait, Scott, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that
he was a top 5 player in the league.
What? No.
Top 10.
No.
Advanced stats,
bro. But you can't use advanced stats for everything.
I'm about to blow your minds. I'm about to blow your minds.
No, Cav.
He give me 5 players right now.
Scottie, exactly. Scotty's basically Jimmy Butler.
Shaq,
basically Jimmy Butler.
Exactly.
And,
so that's 10.
David. That's 5 right there.
Like, he is.
I think Jimmy Butler's like 5 in the league right now.
Jimmy Butler's like
top
10,
5,
right? Like
Jimmy's
Jimmy
top
Butler's
5.
like 10.
I feel like okay, so
top 10.
LeBron's out with injury, AD's out with injury.
Yeah, no, but we have to count those players because they're in the league.
I know, I'm saying okay, but they're not playing right now. That's why I said right now.
Those two are better than Jimmy Butler. We're gonna
of course they're better.
I mean, Jimmy Butler put the work on though. I mean,
hey, you got a point. That boy Jimmy was tired,
bro. He had to guard LeBron, then turn around, go to the other side, and generate all the offense, bro. Like literally, like people don't realize
nobody else was working.
Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson did not play good. I think Tyler Hero had one good game, and it was like at the end.
Duncan Robinson only hit Duncan Robinson only hit 2 shots that game.
They also didn't have Dragic.
Like, bro, there's a question.
And Bam.
And bro, and if
Jimmy
it wasn't for
them
and if it wasn't for them switching AD onto Jimmy, because they couldn't do nothing with Jimmy until they switched AD onto him. Like, there's possibility that they lose that series without having.
I mean, that's why he's that's why he's 10. Like that earned him 10. Like before then, he was like 15. Like not that, but like for the.
I feel like Jimmy Butler up until that moment has always been an underrated
Okay, let's hear
player.
the list though. What you got? Top 10.
I mean, since you're saying I have to add LeBron and AD in there.
Before we do that, can I ask somebody something? Who is your?
I would just take them out for injuries.
Who is your all-time defensive first and second team?
First team,
Hakeem's definitely there.
Hakeem is
I was just about to say Hakeem for sure.
Oh, but like, wait, do we? So we don't care about position.
I gotta put GP in there. GP is the guard.
It can be 2 guard, 2 forward, 1 center.
Okay, Dennis Johnson.
Only 1 center.
Gary Payton,
Hakeem.
Yeah, 4. Dang, that's crazy.
If the player,
I kind of want to say Scottie.
Scottie can count as a front.
I want to go.
Okay, yo, give me some names for
Scottie and Kawhi.
I mean, okay. See, here's my.
Actually,
guys.
I like
Okay. Here's the thing.
I'll say Scottie. I gotta say Scottie.
How valuable is Scottie Pippen if he doesn't have a Defensive Player of the Year award?
I mean, he also was.
But those playoff runs, man, the way that he locked up Magic, series.
I mean, Magic still got like 20 assists in the last game. So,
like the reason why the Jimmy Butler comp is so.
But he forced him to create instead.
Yeah, I get it. It was great, but like, okay, like how can it's kind of weird to say like, okay, Scottie Pippen's top 5 all time, yet he couldn't been recognized as the best defender at his position at any point. Like that's hard.
Dennis
Even
Rodman
Draymond
and
Green
Kawhi.
has one. Like literally, Draymond Green has one, and Scottie Pippen doesn't. But most people will say Scottie Pippen is a better defender than Draymond Green, regardless of looking into the details.
It's like the reverse accolade thing, right? Like we have to give them all these like accolades post their run because like how else are they having a great team?
Also, it kind of
the greatest of it, blah 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 blah.
And there's an argument that you could say Scottie Pippen, like literally narrative wise, should have won it over Gary Payton.
He should have.
No, narrative wise.
He should have.
No, I say that it's the opposite. I go Gary Payton because we've seen the impact and the evidence for it.
Production wise,
the impact at
production wise,
bro. Like who was anchoring, bro? He literally had Dennis Rodman and Michael Jordan on his team. Gary Payton had none of them, and they still had a great record. Like there was more defensive.
But Sean
help
Kemp
on
was
that
an
team.
amazing. Sean Kemp was an amazing defensive and offensive.
Yes.
Player. I feel like people like.
I mean, Sean Kemp nearly won Finals MVP. I mean, like the dude balled out in the finals. Like I give him that, but Gary Payton, like, and we can even name it down the numbers, right? Scottie Pippen had 2 great defenders. Gary Payton had 1. Like
sometimes 3 or 4.
And let's not underrate the team though. Nate McMillan made an all defensive team. Like Nate McMillan's a very underrated player because people don't really remember names if you never really won a championship. But we can sit here and I've said this before that the Supersonics and the 2018 Rockets are the 2 greatest teams never to win a title.
Never to win
a title.
All right, I did my positions. Bill Russell at center, Draymond.
Wait, did you say 2018 Rockets?
Yes. They nearly be a super team. If it was for Chris Paul going down, they would have beat the Warriors. That's
no, they wouldn't.
No, they weren't going to beat the Warriors.
Relax.
They weren't going to beat the Warriors.
I think y'all,
man. Andre was also.
If you just erasing injuries,
hurt in that one, right?
Yes, I get it. Andre was hurt. But like, still, they were nearly about to be a super team, bro. Come on now.
If we erasing Chris Paul's hamstring injury,
that's like saying like you know what I mean. The Pacers almost beat the Bulls.
Bro, they literally won by 8, and the Rockets had to miss 27 threes to lose that game. Like,
and that's their fault.
Oh yeah, that Rockets team should have been a champion.
Curry had a nagging like wrist injury or something like that. It wasn't, but he still played through it, right? But if we erasing injuries, then no Curry injury and no Iguodala out for
injury. I think he was gone. He was out.
No, Iguodala was out.
Yeah, he was out.
Like I get
Curry wasn't out. That's what I'm saying. He was playing through an injury though. He had like a nagging wrist thing.
I mean,
that came up after the finals.
He had an MCL.
Okay. So literally, so what you're saying is that still, even though
I don't play hypotheticals, man. The Warriors won. That's
okay, fair. That's all fair. So who would you say is the greatest team that never won a championship?
Maybe one of those Suns teams.
What?
No, wait, the Jazz. The like 96 Jazz team or whatever.
They didn't even get to the finals.
Do we count the 71 Warriors?
What was the season they got to the
97,
finals?
98. Like,
I
think it's the Rockets.
I would say the 2018 Rockets based on talent level and just players that they had. Like, you can't say that they weren't even on the level of the Warriors. Even if they didn't beat them, you could say like they.
I mean, I think they were slightly below if everyone's healthy, but they were a championship level team.
Yeah. I mean,
that Warriors team was insane.
If they had got to the finals and faced LeBron James in the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Cavaliers just would have got swept.
Maybe. Who knows?
Do we count the 2017 Warriors as one of those teams that never won a championship?
No, 2017 Warriors is a cheat code.
Yeah, because that's
the 2016 Warriors were the one that lost to LeBron. 2017 is when we got Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
2016. I mean,
2016 was Curry's second MVP.
Yeah.
And we lost. We lost 3-1.
But I mean, we don't really consider that because they won.
Don't remind me.
We really don't consider that.
Oh, I fucking hate that moment, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if we had to, like, because that's the team. That's
the obvious answer. I'm just saying, like,
they won the year before too.
Like that's really the obvious answer, but like I'm just saying, like teams that have never won a championship after that point.
feel like the Utah Jazz team was really good.
I would say the
Utah could have been more.
I say the 93 Suns.
well,
the 93 Suns had to be.
They were
because I mean Michael Jordan had to average 41 points.
Oh, dude, I would say
Charles
you know what I would
Barkley.
say the Portland Trailblazers in the 90s.
What?
Oh,
with
Scottie
Rasheed
Pippen
Wallace,
on that team.
Scottie Pippen.
That was 2000.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
2000.
okay, 2000. Yeah, my bad. Yeah,
But that was a wash.
really good
That was a
team.
wash. Scotty, a young Rasheed.
Yeah.
A lot of those players were definitely washed.
Okay, you know, it's also a good one would have been the Sacramento Kings, right?
Yeah.
The one that
yeah. Oh yeah. If it wasn't for that Robert
2000
Horry,
Sacramento
they'd be
Kings.
up 3-1 in that series.
I don't care. It wasn't rigged.
Yeah, I think the Rockets definitely have a argument.
Like it's so weird.
Yeah, 2018 Warriors definitely. 2018
That
Rockets
97 Jazz team went 64-18. They were first in the entire league.
Like that's kind of interesting because nobody ever talks to players outside Carmelo, John Stockton because they were just that dominant.
Byron Russell was on the team. Jeff Hornacek.
Jeff Hornacek's a really underrated player.
Squad.
Like
sure.
that's
Jeff
a player
Hornacek
that
was
doesn't
nice.
get talked about enough.
Yeah.
How much he changed because
Greg Ostertag.
I mean he was a body. I mean.
Yeah, he was definitely a body.
Yeah, I mean, like he dedefinitely deterred some shots. Like only thing that anybody ever remembers Craig Ostertag.
I hated that motherfucker though, man.
Craig Ostertag is only remembered because Jordan like went by him and literally he got bodied and Jordan still made the shot. Like that's the only thing anybody remembers.
But he was 2 years later. He was like one of the top people in the league in blocks.
That is true. Like he was a great rim protector. I think. So who's the greatest player to ever win a championship? I think this is gonna get polarized. I might make the next episode.
Maybe Charles Barkley,
Carmelo,
maybe.
Yeah, Carmelo's alright or whatever.
Dang, people be hating on Carmelo. I mean, I get that he played with Stockton.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, yeah.
You know why?
I know why. Okay.
All right.
The kitties.
Yeah. Nasty old man.
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash, come on, bro.
Steve Nash was great. He only deserves one MVP though. Like, let's be honest, he shouldn't have got that. I think it was the first one.
Oh, are you gonna say LeBron James deserves it?
No.
I do. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, CP3 would probably be up there, huh?
No, I thought he missed something else by CP.
No.
Like, bro, I was like,
cheese pizza. Cheese pizza.
Yeah, bro.
I have no opinion on the MVP debate from 20 years ago.
Like, bro.
Hey,
there's a lot of people.
I'm just saying.
Like, do you think, like, a lot of people look over the 2000 guards or the 2000 players because their stats are suppressed because of the pace of the league back then? Like, I think I saw something about Michael Jordan's average in 98 was really actually 33 if you adjusted for 2019 pace, which would be almost the same as 1989. Like, and somebody said in the finals, that would equal Jordan averaging 39 points a game.
Like, if you adjust for pace, MJ has what, like 7 of the 10, like top 10 scoring.
And bro, did anybody know?
And no one
just
got
seasons of all time.
Yeah, just
like, bro. Did you know? Actually, on top of that, bro, Kobe Bryant's 35 point per game season turns into nearly 40.
That's like 2.
Yeah,
is that 1? That might be 1.
Kobe's is number 1 because Michael Jordan's 37 point per game season was on higher pace than 2019, which is the last reputable season we can use. And even now, like it's 100 point. It's 100. What is that points or the pace was 100, right? So Michael Jordan's was 101.
It was like per 75.
It's like 101. So basically, Michael Jordan's goes from 37 to a 36. But I mean, that's still roughly in the same range, though.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you at Steph's 2016?
That was like what was that back in the top 10 or something? But the thing about that season was
that was the one. That was the most efficient, though. I would.
Like,
the thing about that one was the efficiency. Like, it was the most efficient by far.
And then on top of that, you're not even counting the levity that he has off ball, where he's getting these guys literally open layups.
The space,
like literally.
You talking about Curry?
Do we not remember that play, that double play in the finals in like 2017, where like literally Steph Curry ran to the corner on a fast break, and 3 guys start doubling off of him, and Kevin Durant got right to the rim like twice, back to back, and it was like, dude, this dude is scary. And bro,
like if I'm thinking about greatest offensive players, it's Curry, Bron, MJ, and Magic.
I don't think LeBron's one of the. Okay, wait, not just offense. Everything in offense.
I mean, offense includes playmaking.
That's what I was about to say. But my mind immediately goes to scoring. But offense doesn't include playmaking.
But you can't really say offense because playmaking is a part of offense. Offensive rebounds is a part of offense. No,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I said
that created the most shots for their team, and after thinking about it like that, like as in terms of greatest offensive players,
then Klay Thompson,
Curry, MJ, Bron, and Magic, and those are my like Mount Rushmore.
I feel like Klay Thompson is really underrated offensively. Look, bro. His scoring, this man took like what 10, 11 dribbles and got 60.
Bro, look at that stretch where Steph Curry was out. Kevin Durant even said it, like the spacing was just completely different, bro. Like that's because of Steph Curry's levity.
2 All-Stars instead of 3, and you could.
That's still more than almost everybody in the league, though.
No, but you could sacrifice a double team because if you have a good defender on Clay and a good defender on KD, then you at least have a little bit of comp.
Like there's a step.
You can leave Draymond open.
There's a step between Curry and Clay's like shooting ability, and then Curry also has everything else.
And let's not talk about Klay Thompson, Mr. doesn't show up in the finals except in 2019.
Like, where was games just playing 2016? Where'd he go?
Bro, that dude disappeared. Like for real. Like
he was translucent.
Like, bro, and even in 2018, bro, even in the championship runs with KD, bro, he didn't really play all that good. It's just that he was the third option, so it's like, who cares at this point? Like, his impact is negligible when Kevin Durant can freaking just jump shoot over LeBron James and hit a game winner. Like, it's pretty much null and void because KD, like, when he adds onto your team, he doesn't take away anything, bro, because he's such a great off-ball talent. Mm-hmm. Like, he has so much scoring flexibility. And then not only...
the problem with KD is he can't really... Like, I don't trust him to, like, lead a
great team?
Does that...
A great offense.
Like...
He's been the leader, but he hasn't been the only leader.
No, I'm
on
saying
a team.
Like, I don't trust him to be the the main creator,
like LeBron on the 2018 Cavs,
or even like a Curry, like what Curry does. On the ball. Or Harden, right?
I don't. But I mean, KD's playmaking is definitely underrated.
When we start,
is it?
I feel like it is.
I think it's kind of.
It's not really that good.
Because not only does he play make for himself, but just him being himself, right? Mm-hmm. He's gonna draw offense.
Like he's a great off-ball player. Like,
but
I don't know.
But
like,
Kevin Durant being Kevin Durant draws in defense, and that allows him to play make. That's the only reason his playmaking is underrated.
I think he has the same effect of a Michael Jordan and a Steph Curry, where he's so dangerous off ball that he can produce shots for his teammates. It just depends if his teammates can take those opportunities. That's what really discerns a great.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
KD.
Like, could KD lead? Okay. Like, could KD lead the best offense? Like, you put him like with 3-and-D players.
Nah,
like he's the best.
I mean, he nearly did it. If it wasn't for LeBron,
you need another playmaker next to KD, though.
Yeah.
No, like I think you need someone
like as a main focal point.
I think you need someone who's a better playmaker next to him.
I mean, but
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
but different players require different elements to make their value.
But also, we're comparing them, right? So it's like a checklist of like if you really can't lead like an all-time or even just a great offense in your era, like where are we ranking you all time in terms of offensive players?
I mean, we don't rank him in offense; we rank him in scoring.
I would say KD all-time
like what's
offensive
the use
players?
of scoring?
You say what's the use of scoring?
Like, what's the use of scoring if you're not like creating as much for your team?
I mean, he's Kevin Durant
as a tool for team.
I mean, the dude
I would say
like
KD is just the most like KD can get the most quality shots ever.
All right, but what about like somebody like Elgin Baylor?
Okay, good.
Is he a playmaker?
Yes, he was, but
Elgin Baylor is a solid playmaker. He's like James Harden before James Harden.
Can I guess
Elgin Baylor was like insane. Isn't Elgin Baylor?
Have you seen that freaking Euro?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the more underrated players.
For doing the up and under before Jordan. That's all.
Like Elgin Baylor is like one of those players. Like when you look at the pace adjusted stuff, where you're just like, what?
Right, he'd be a monster in today's league, adjusted for
he
pace.
would.
I heard he was Jordan before Jordan.
No,
he's James Harden before James Harden.
James Harden. He's more like James Harden, bro. It's just different
because he can really go out there and do everything.
It's
like super athletic too.
Elgin Baylor's kind of unlucky. You were tired to say
they said Elgin Baylor had one of the craziest bounds too.
I mean, you can see. You remember that play where Bill Russell literally tried to block him, and he just couldn't. Like, he bounced off the floor, held the ball for like 3 seconds, and then threw it behind his head to like score.
He was flying.
Like, that man was flying. And bro, I hate that players back then get discredited because of the league they played in. Nobody ever makes the equivalent. It's always who is that player. Just because I don't like it's like recency bias to the max with those players.
I mean, if you're doing it versus less teams, it's like less impressive than it would.
No. But see, that doesn't for the individual. Like for the competition, maybe, but for the individual, that does. If they're exhibiting skills, it doesn't matter who's in the league. They're still exhibiting those skills.
In terms of the quality of their skill, they were so ahead of their time.
Like, bro, if we were talking about players that were ahead of their time, we would put
Elgin Baylor,
Jordan. Yeah. Jordan was so
Reggie Jackson.
Oh, what?
Reggie Jackson
from the Clippers.
Reggie Miller.
Okay, Reggie Jackson.
Bro, I had to take a double take. I was like, what did this nigga just say?
Reggie Jackson is ahead.
I'm like, Reggie Jackson from the Clippers.
If he was
Jim Jones.
I was about to say
Jim Jones.
I was about to say if somebody were to say that, bro, then the Clippers should have won.
Reggie Jackson is an innovation in the game of basketball.
I feel like Derek Fisher is a really underrated player.
I mean, he was the third best shooter on the Lakers teams.
He was solid. Like he was just like he's kind of like a little.
But he did a lot.
Very solid.
He was a great impact player. And plus in 2001, his metrics are suppressed because of the low pace of play. So now his numbers, like somebody did a stat. Like, have y'all ever seen?
He looks like an all-star now.
Like, bro. Like, does anybody have anybody seen Jimmy High Roller's video on pace per era and how many teams are shooting like having over 100-point games now? It's insane. And bro, for adjusted for pace, like you remember LeBron James led the league in scoring at 31 points per game. Now,
yo, Elgin Baylor only averaged 4 assists for his career. What are y'all talking about?
But no. See, here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing about that: the '60s.
Elgin Baylor.
Yeah, but I can't see his turnover, so he's lucky.
Another thing about like translating stats is like we also have a lot more heliocentrism. You know, like we also have a lot more like guys taking a larger percentage of the team off.
Like I hate. Do y'all hate when people say if LeBron James played in the '60s, he would average 70 points a game?
I do. I really do hate that.
Because
LeBron would get knocked out.
No. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. It was stupid. He'll say, "Oh, all the players were flat-footed, white boys."
No.
Okay.
No. Like all the players were
plumbers.
They were
less skilled, but they're the same size.
Like
all the players were plumbers. They were literally the same size.
The best league offense and probably be like winning every other year. Like he'd be trading.
Okay. Like here's the thing, right? Because that's so dumb. Because if you brought a player back now, and plus they're not considering if LeBron James was born in the '60s, LeBron James would not have nowhere near the body he has. He would have the body he had in Cleveland, early Cleveland. He would have been.
Nah.
Do you know? Did y'all ever see an interview where they did with Bob Pettit, who was more efficient than Kevin Durant? I'll just add that.
If LeBron grew up in the '60s, I feel like he would just not choose basketball at all. He'd be a football player.
Never mind.
But
he'd be a Hall of Famer.
What was football like in the '60s?
He'd be a Hall of Fame football player.
Football was aggressive in the '60s.
Be like, hey, you haven't seen LeBron run the ball. They would have been like, you haven't seen LeBron run the ball.
Like, bro, like, let's think about this, bro. If LeBron James was born in the '60s, do you know, like, Bob Pettit in the interview was like, yeah, back then we had theories about, like different muscle mass and what that would do to your shot. He was like, the owner of the Hawks didn't want him to put on muscle because he thought it was going to affect his shot. That's the kind of information they were working with.
And it kind of does, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You can see that a lot with Zion and Lonzo.
He had like a decent looking shot, but now he has to like.
Oh yeah.
Do like
because Giannis been in the gym like Wilt Chamberlain.
I would say
in the
Giannis
60s.
I would say Giannis would be the most effective in terms of muscle mass. His shot, like, have you seen his shot in the beginning?
His shot was normal. He was playing
his
shooting
shot was
guard.
Way more fluid back in those times, and then now
he was
like
playing
super
shooting
stick.
guard.
Yeah,
he
and he doesn't have as many reps, I guess. He doesn't have.
Giannis was 6'7" back in 2014. Man, that boy had a gross.
For
He had a nice shot too. It was like normal looking. I'm like, now it's like,
I mean, just muscle, bro. I mean, muscle.
Like
they
thought Giannis was about to be Jimmy Butler,
bro. But it's different. It's the amount of muscle, bro. Like the muscle that we're talking about is just regular strength muscle. We're not talking about all time like great muscle that would really, really hinder your shot. We're talking about just basic, basic nutritional standards of how to maximize performance. And they don't even have
that's
that.
stupid.
And plus, when people say that, they don't realize that LeBron James has the most information available to him to improve on. Guys going backwards.
Dude, that dude spends like $1 million just trying to, get the best resource.
LeBron growing up in the
60s.
'60s.
Shoes though, the Converse.
That's true. And LeBron growing up in the '60s, not doing the same workouts as LeBron now. He's doing like the same workouts as an NFL player is doing.
And the thing is about LeBron James,
and it's way more complex now. Like LeBron, you got all those.
Yeah,
ideas,
they do.
Right?
In the '60s, they just did basic weight workouts.
Did you see
weightlifting workouts?
Do you see like what the Warriors got? Like the Warriors got like some crazy ass system where they can measure pretty much everything.
Oh yeah,
in terms of tech space,
because we have one of the biggest health and whatever resources in the NBA.
Yeah. Silicon Valley, bro.
Yeah,
like literally, like it's so much different. So to compare Larry Bird, like Larry Bird be way faster now. Like Larry Bird was not even really that slow.
Larry Bird's
back
faster
would have held him,
bro.
Imagine
maybe.
I think he's dirt.
Imagine.
Larry Bird had a better.
Larry Bird was a better passer.
Larry will be a better Luka. Larry would be Luka with a 3.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that would
be wild.
I mean, I compare more Larry Bird to Jokic because he's a threat on all three. Like people,
I kind of feel that.
That's a good one.
He's slightly
bro, literally
he's like 3 inches off.
Hey, yo, Jokic an MVP this year too, bro.
Like literally, they move the same way. Like if you look at them, they move the same way.
Yeah.
They shoot a weird shot.
Like
is Jokic?
It's because I feel like it's because of their like weight and size distribution. Like they're built the same without being the same.
Is Jokic not like Larry Bird's son? Like.
Yo,
because they both have
from the put on the long weight.
You got to talk to his dad.
He kind of shoots like Larry too.
Like bro, literally, he kind of has like that weird like shot almost behind
his
the
post
ear,
moves are the exact same.
His post moves are ugly, but they work.
Do you know how
his
hard
post
it is?
moves
like,
are the same.
You can't even time those, man. It's like I don't even know like how the hell.
Like Larry Bird's step back is super underrated. He was like one of the first players to pull out the step back. Like it,
the step back was disgusting.
Like, bro, do you see how many people fall to that?
Larry Bird did a couple step backs.
And bro, most people say, "Oh, Larry Bird's white." You do realize, he was winning. Bro, you do realize that he was playing in the league with Michael Jordan, right? Like he was winning MVPs over Michael Jordan. Like, do we? Like, bro.
That was a young Mike, though. That was a young Mike that wasn't really doing anything with that bullshit.
Yeah, and I know MVPs are based off
Orlando.
But do we have to realize that, like, how Larry Bird, like, nearly averaged a triple-double in the finals? He was nearly the first player to do.
Which finals?
84.
But they're not ready to talk about that.
84.
They're not ready to talk about that.
No. Right? I think it was it was 86. And he faced the Rockets.
The Rockets.
And the Rockets had Hakeem and Ralph Sampson on it.
Like if I added a fifth player to my like Hall of Fame offensive players, it'd probably be Larry Bird.
Larry Bird's like offensive playmaking.
Yeah. You can't have 5 players. What do you mean the 5th player? You can have 5 players.
Like, cause I was thinking of like 4. Like if I were ranking them or whatever, like the top 4, like clearly in the tier of their own would be like MJ, Magic, LeBron, and Curry. And then like I guess I could put Bird there too.
I mean, Bird could technically, because he technically played a good bit of his time as a 4, but. I think the most impressive thing about Larry Bird is that he can have the effect of a Steph Curry, be a playmaker, and be a great rebound. Like, he literally averaged 10 rebounds for his career. Like, that's so underrated.
That's why I think Luka.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a rebound. Luka's about rebound.
I mean, so did Carmelo, though.
But Larry Bird did it as a small forward in a big lineup with Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale. Like, that's insane to think about. Like, he can stretch the floor.
Oh, look at that. He does.
Exactly 10, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. Think about it.
Look at
LeBron James.
I feel like a lot of people.
LeBron James
look at
averages
Larry Bird as more of a power
7.3
forward.
for his career. Larry Bird, like, goes over by 3. That's insane.
He retired averaging
Larry
20
Bird
points
would
a
be a
game.
power forward in today's NBA
Wait,
for
I
sure.
thought his back was bad in 19. He averaged 20 points a game his last career.
Oh yes, bro. He had his back was terrible.
Bro, they had to realign it every game.
Man back.
Every game they had to realign it.
Exactly. He had an old man back, and even in his like last couple whatever's had averaged 20.
Bro, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird's just skinny.
He would have been an all-star for his whole career for 89.
No,
G,
he got
bro.
injured that season, so you really can't even count that season.
Yeah, so he would have been an all-star his whole career, damn. That's
like, bro. I think he's a top 6 player of all time, if not top 10.
Yeah, I agree.
He's
I
seven
put him
for
next
me.
to Magic.
I think, bro.
Whatever.
But literally, Magic had Kareem, and I don't like to use that argument because if he didn't have Kareem, I think he would have been better as a individual player because I think what people don't think about is Magic
made a finals without Kareem.
Yeah.
He had Kareem for like 6 years.
And let's think about this. The Lakers would have been way better if they played pick and roll way sooner than 1987. The year that they started pulling out that pick and roll, Magic Johnson was pulling up all-time numbers. And he could only do...
Didn't Magic have Wilt for a little bit, too?
What?
Wilt was on it.
Hell no.
Am I tripping?
You're tripping.
Nah, there's no way I'm tripping.
I did not just hear that. I did not just hear that.
No,
I did not just hear that.
When did Wilt
1976 or 70? Was it 74?
Oh
or
yeah,
76?
whoa. I'm way off. I'm
and bro,
72.
Imagine
low key,
Kareem and Wilt on the same team. Imagine.
Like, bro, and let's not forget Kareem. 1970s Kareem is like one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Bro, like that is. Have you seen?
He probably should have won more than he should.
No, but see, back then, like his teams were not that good. Like
stuck in Milwaukee.
Like,
but the 70s was like, isn't that the weakest?
No,
era?
well, it's the weakest era because of the ABA and not having the players. Like, it's from that standpoint that it was the weakest.
They had the ABA merger in like
76. And Julius, because we can all say that the second best player was Julius Erving on the planet. Like, he literally revolutionized the game.
Amazing.
Like, that dude was an absolute monster. Like, if you look at his ABA stats, bro, they are insane. Even his NBA stats, by comparison, are still insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but if you combine the two, Julius Erving is 8th all-time in points.
Dr. J off that one, bro.
He only had a 10-year NBA career, which sucks.
Which is crazy. Well, no. Well, technically,
Dr. J was mean.
Like, bro, like, could you imagine him? Like, do we not remember that dunk on Bill Wall where he literally just got bodied and just jumped straight over him?
For real. In his NBA career, only 10 years. At the end of his career, is still averaging 22 on 50% from the field, 7
and got
why
4,
he ever retired?
And still got a chip.
Like, bro, because I mean, it was
and still got a chip.
Like, okay, but the chip. But okay, we gotta be honest about the chip, bro. Like, Mose Malone made that super team. Like, literally, if you go back and look how many players. No,
I would say that.
Like,
I
have y'all ever seen the video by I think it's Andy Hoops. Like, he literally goes down how many players that year made the defensive player of the defensive team. Like, bro, like, literally, that was literally, he basically pulled a Kevin Durant. Because, like, the Sixers were in the finals the year before, and they went to the Lakers in 6 games, right? Mose Malone joins that team, who was the MVP. Like, he literally pulled a Kevin Durant and made a super team, and they beat the Lakers in, like, 4 games.
I mean, he didn't lose to that team, did he?
What?
It's not like Julius Erving was bad on that team.
Like, dude, they went to 6 games, bro. Like, I think, no, did they lose to Philly? They might have lost to Philly, though. The Rockets.
He was still averaging 20 or something.
Like, dude, do you know what he averaged, like, 28, like, 18 and, like, what, 4 or 2? Like, it was something astronomical.
He missed shots on purpose to get boards.
It's weird because,
so
it's weird that nobody really knows Moses Malone.
Moses Malone is like a top 5 center of all time. Like, nobody ever brings up his name.
For real.
But he's almost scored more top points than I think he has scored more points than Shaq.
He's like 5. He's like 5 at the top 5.
He's won 3 MVPs. Yeah. He dominated.
Moses Malone was a dog.
He beat Kareem in the finals. Right. He literally beat up on Kareem.
Maybe I'm smoking.
Like, bro, go look at the video.
Maybe I'm sleeping. I'm just like, like there are
a lot.
You're
sleeping on Moses
Malone was the Shaq in the 80s. He literally was.
He definitely. And Wes Unseld is like 7 out of 10
in the 80s.
Like, Moses Malone, but he came out the ABA. That's what.
And he was locking down Kareem.
Like, bro,
Like, cause
he's gotten to 2 finals.
Like,
nobody even knows about the
many...
other finals, bro. He got to the finals in '81 against Bird. Like, there's no, and their team finished 40-42 because of injuries. He literally beat the Lakers, Kareem and the Lakers.
Does Moses have an argument over Wilt?
Whoa,
we underrated him, but he ain't underrated that.
The record book,
like he's top. Like if you're in your top 5, bro, which center has 3 MVPs?
I think you hate
bro. Who has Charles, 3 MVPs, bro? I'm
Who did you say? Charles Barkley?
What?
No, so why do you hate Wilt, Charles?
Oh yeah, like Mike rep against Wilt. I think that like
like you sound just heard of Moses.
Yeah, Mike rep against Wilt is I think for most of his career like he wasn't like a really valuable offensive player.
Look at his teams.
No. I think the problem with this.
I am looking at his teams, and his teams when he left or like when he got there, like they weren't much better offensive.
But he had to, or we don't know the situation too because the media was pretty suppressed.
No. It's just like it's straight. It's just like you can go offensive rating when Wilt left when he was there. Like they.
Okay. The problem.
I'm saying, but we don't know what he was asked to do because the media wasn't in the NBA like that.
I mean,
like it is now.
Like, the problem,
he decided to score to such an extreme extent that
that's
right.
But we don't know that he decided to do that.
That's a fact. That's literally a stone cold fact.
Whether or not he decided to do that, that's whatever. Like he did it. Right, and like that hurt his overall like
bro when he stopped shooting, his numbers when the coach told him stop shooting and
when he was averaging 8 assists,
they
were literally he screwed.
He was near the end of his career.
Wasn't like that was like top 10 level when
he was like 6 seasons away from the end of his career. At that point, when he averaged 8 assists.
He only played 14 years.
That's 6 whole seasons, dude. Like what are we doing?
Like in my mind,
he
only generated the Hall of Fame, like not Hall of Fame. He only generated like top 10 value when he decided to stop shooting.
Like I think Wilt just didn't discover his value until later in his career. Like if he had found out that value way sooner,
his second to last season in Philly.
He would have killed Bill Russell had he found out that value way sooner.
Like he would have been in there with the Celtics every year, right? Like if he decided to just be like 25 points a game, like 8 assists. Like
he's the only center to lead the league in assists.
Insane efficiency.
Jokic,
like if he decided that, like they would have been.
Jokic might do it this year.
No,
never mind.
No.
Yeah, never mind. James Harden.
Like Wilt could have averaged a triple double his whole career if he decided.
That's
true.
That's
how
he probably did average a triple double.
Does anybody ever go to
at least a couple times?
Does anybody ever go to the Wilt Chamberlain archive and just like watch footage?
Nah, that's kind of boring.
What, Wilt Chamberlain playing basketball?
Yeah, they have footage of it.
I mean, just going...
Bro, man, we're just done.
Bro, does nobody know that he has a fadeaway? Like, he has one of the... He's the first...
He had a fadeaway, and when he was in, Warriors, Philly, or whatever, they were saying that he was pulling up from, like, deep. Like, where the three-point line would be in, like, 76.
Will has a bag?
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yes, bro. Wilt was crazy.
I'd be so hyped.
He can barely shoot free throws, so how was he shooting from the three?
Well, bro...
He was definitely shooting from three.
He definitely
was he making it.
There are reports about like dudes in the 60s or whatever about how Wilt Chamberlain was
shooting 1-3 a game.
Like if Wilt were in the modern,
he's in the 60s. You think he's gonna shoot 7 a game? Like, dang, on. Give my man a little bit of credit.
In the modern league, I feel like I'd actually like him because I feel like no coach, no modern
he'd be
coach
Hakeem.
Would let him take like 1 million shots, right? Like,
oh yeah.
I feel like he apparently he can space out the floor, which I didn't know.
Like, bro, did we not remember? Bro, his fadeaway was pretty deep. Like, and bro, he could do it off just automatic.
I kind of don't.
And the thing is about Wilt is that nobody realizes, and Will even brought this up before he died when he was watching Shaq. He's like, they let Shaq get away with a lot. Whereas Wilt, like literally, you couldn't turn your elbow to the defender at all. Like they would literally call that as offensive foul. They literally have footage. You can literally look this up.
Because he was a gigantic. Against a lot of whites.
But no center could. Like literally, no center could do it.
No, yeah,
at all.
You couldn't turn your elbow.
But Wilt got the calls called on him because he was bigger than a lot of centers.
But he has footage of other centers against not Wilt Chamberlain. And literally, they call the same thing, bro. It was just a rule back then. So he couldn't use physicality. He had to be more of a finesse player. So we don't really even know how dominant he could have been.
Wilt Chamberlain was stronger than Shaq, too.
Yeah.
Was he?
Oh yeah, Will Chamberlain was.
Go ask
strong.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Was he? I don't know if I think.
No,
Yeah,
Shaq is
exactly.
Shaq. Come on now, Shaq is Shaq.
Shaq has more weight,
Will Chamberlain,
but like,
yeah, but Will Chamberlain
Will had more
was
muscle,
stronger than Shaq. Oh yeah,
I mean muscle wise, but like body.
I'd say it was more athletic.
Strength though. No, but
I know
Will.
Okay, body.
Okay, so are you saying like I think I get
arm
what you're
to
saying,
arm?
like his arm strength versus
somebody in the
his
comment
arm
section
strength.
just said he benched 550, which I've heard.
That's a fact. That's a
absurd.
fact.
That's absurd.
Yes, exactly. Because Will Chamberlain is a monster.
But you know, Phil Jackson played with Wilt, right?
Are we sure he's a person?
Phil, you got
bro,
Phil Jackson.
dude literally
Jackson,
breaks the athletic theory. Like literally,
he might be. Yeah, he might just be made up, bro.
Bro, do we not remember when he touched
never
the back
existed.
of the back? He got so high that he nearly touched like the top of the backboard to block a shot.
Yeah,
I feel like JaVale could do that right now. I feel like JaVale McGee could do that right now.
Nah, stop it. JaVale McGee has hops.
If he really wanted to.
Not this season, JaVale. Maybe like
bro, could you imagine? Could you imagine the hype for a player?
JaVale McGee.
Could you imagine the hype for a player like Will if he was in the draft,
bro?
Oh my gosh,
bro! Could you imagine?
They would be on him
but
like
in terms of style wise, though, but Wilt.
His game still fits in the modern era.
You think?
Yeah,
slight
but
adjustments.
Wilt did not like. Apparently, Wilt did not like contact.
No.
Style of play.
That's because he had to. That's because they kept calling fouls because you couldn't use elbows. That's the reason why he was a finesse player. It wasn't because it was out of necessity. Because if he really wanted to, bro, he could buy those players. Like,
I mean, but the finesse game is like.
But you think he could back down somebody like Shaq?
No.
Oh yeah, you don't think Wilt could back down Shaq? Not just even just a little bit.
Just body weight. How much?
I think Shaq, because Shaq had that burst, man. He was just like
massive.
What
Wilt would do is he would get to a position and just fade away, and there would be nothing Shaq could do about it.
Artest, what was a track star?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Wilt played volleyball, basketball, and track. Wilt was a monster.
And he did high jump.
Exactly. I'm convinced Wilt never existed.
There's no way he existed. Like, half of this stuff has to be lies. I can't imagine.
He did not have a fadeaway.
Bro, go look at. I will link the video in the comment section.
Look it up.
I will literally link it to you.
He had a deep.
If he were in the modern league, he'd actually be the greatest player of all time. There'd be no discussion. Like
so now you like him.
No, I still think as a career value, like the value he actually put on the court, he's not top 10. Like,
he won a Finals MVP when he was hella old, right? With Draymond.
Yeah, I know. That's when he decided to shoot less. I'm saying career value.
Because he was old.
That's a part of it.
And he had Jerry West.
He's probably like, yo, I don't have the energy.
Yeah. In terms of career value, I wouldn't put him in the top 10. But if I'm saying if he were given modern coaching and doing modern things,
bro, he would be a super.
He was hitting deep,
bro, super size.
He was hitting deep fadeaways and
bro, he would be a super size.
He's the best
unstoppable fadeaway.
3-point range fadeaways and hook shots.
Like replace Bam with Wilt.
Wait, why was he doing
that
dynasty in the 60s?
Because he's a demon. He's not real.
It doesn't count for anything more than a 2. Why?
He was probably bored.
He was probably
bored.
Right? Replace Bam with what Bam.
That's an ugly. He hit the back the top of the back.
Bro, anybody who doesn't believe it, literally hit that link. Literally hit that link and see what you see.
There, I see it.
Click.
Why is he shooting one-handed?
Because he's weird.
Bro, that jump is incredible.
So y'all think he's a GOAT?
He has a case, bro. He really does have a case. Because
I would say career.
Because
okay, I guess he had a fadeaway, but was he efficient though? We will never know.
But my problem with Wilt is that just obviously
there's no way Wilt wasn't efficient in my opinion.
He didn't make his teams efficient. The thing about Wilt, he didn't make.
But that comes down to lack of knowledge, bro. In media,
in a championship setting besides the '60s, when was a center really ever the first option on a championship team?
Joker. I mean,
what?
I feel like Joker is
Didn't Daryl Dawkins play in the 60s?
I'm thinking he's giving you championship level offense.
Did Daryl Dawkins play in the 60s?
In the 80s, what? He did.
Because there was this one big center who was black, but he wasn't Bill or Will.
Wow.
Manu Bol.
like, bro, like, let's
Okay,
just.
I mean, he was
okay.
chopping threes.
You need,
Manu Bol was
bro.
threes.
Let me tell you
I
something,
seen that
guys.
shit.
Like, don't you hate it when somebody says Shaq can't shoot threes? He can't play today's game.
That's so dumb.
Bro, you remember when
That
Charles
doesn't even make sense.
I think he'd be worse.
Charles
Barkley said Rudy Gobert would dominate you?
He wouldn't be bad. He'd be worse though.
Bro, he
You just have to build around him. So you got to get some shooters
Like
around
with
him. That's
Shaq,
about
I
it.
think he'd possibly be like
Right.
if you were in a
You can
Days
still
game,
build around Shaq.
If you were in a Days game, he'd probably be the player, like best player, never win a championship.
I'm still waiting for that 3-point line fadeaway.
Bro, literally, bro.
Didn't Kareem used to do that?
Hold up. Let me get you right quick.
Bro, literally.
I'm watching it right now.
Kareem did that in the 70s when there was
Kareem
a
did
3-point
that. Yeah,
line.
Kareem used to do that.
Wilt said, I don't need a 3-point line. Let me just take this shot.
Bro,
I mean, that's such a
bro, I just hate it when people do that. Oh, he doesn't shoot threes. He can't play in today's era.
Wait, so he could barely shoot free throws but had a fadeaway. How does that work?
I don't know.
It works.
Well, in his earlier days, he shot 61% from the 3-point in the free throw line.
I think I saw a stat where it was like that Shaq is more efficient from a mid-range shot than he is from three or for free throw. But obviously because he didn't take as many mid-range shots.
That's so funny.
Like Shaq, bro. Talk about a GOAT, bro.
Shaq
If Shaq had free throw, bro, he would literally be the GOAT.
Oh, he'd be the GOAT. Oh, yeah.
I'd probably put him over Duncan if he had a free throw, to be honest.
No,
But you don't put Shaq over Tim Duncan?
No, Shaq is over Duncan. Oh, no, I mean Duncan's over Shaq. Yeah.
Shaq, Duncan, and KG are all in the same tier.
Yeah.
KG's not top 10, though. I don't.
I mean, I put him. KG's right next to Duncan.
How?
I don't think KG's next to Duncan.
Yes, he's right.
I think I'm
next
putting
to
Dirk over KG.
Kevin Garnett.
No, don't go there, bro. Don't make me have to rip Dirk.
Like we're ignoring.
Don't make me have to.
Dirk over KG.
Like, he only made out of the first round once before the Boston.
I'm ignoring the team award thing because
I mean
like,
his franchise is trash, man.
If you put KG on the Spurs, he gets just as many rings.
That's BS.
Yes, absolutely.
He doesn't win in 99.
That's facts.
He
definitely gets just
what?
Maybe not just as many, but he gets like 3 or 4.
99, bro. Come on now, bro. With David Robinson,
I don't know.
He would choke against the Knicks. The Knicks?
If he's
the 99 Knicks without Patrick Ewing. You think he chokes that?
I got a feeling. I don't know.
Nah.
Knicks vibes. I don't know.
Like I
that
probably
was the worst team
I don't
that Duncan faced. That was the worst. Literally the
Knicks
worst one.
vibes.
The one that we should be talking about is possibly
14 or 14.
No. It would probably be
Duncan
2003.
I would say LeBron.
Look at that link I just put in the
the
chat.
Pistons. They lose to the Pistons.
No.
Yeah, I do.
LeBron's 2007 Cavs was the worst team that Duncan faced.
No, 2005.
I mean, but they still had LeBron on. Like what?
But like the
best
guys
player,
the
best player of the Knicks back then was Latrell Sprewell. So you're saying Latrell Sprewell is equal to?
Wait, so Charles, you don't care that he only made out the first round once before Boston? You don't care?
Yeah, he was on the Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves are awful.
Like, not only
like when it comes to
they were the pinnacle
like
of
it's
awful.
not for me. For me,
what
it's
about
not
Wilt's
about
teams? Wilt's teams were awful too.
Wait, Emmanuel. For me, it's not about wins or losses. It's how you win and lose, and whether or not you contribute to like how you contribute to wins, right?
But
and
I'd
with
rather
KG,
you win than impact winning.
He contributed to like a similar level of like his value was similar to that of Tim Duncan, right? His value to his team. Like that doesn't mean that the other players around him were trash relative to Tim Duncan. The coaching was trash relative to Tim Duncan, right? Like, but his.
Well, why do you care
value,
about impacting winning more than actually winning though?
Well, because to actually win, you need 4 other players and a coach.
But Wilt's team, you don't do the same for Wilt though. That's funny.
No, because his teams were always the same. Like, his team offenses were always the same when he left, right? Like,
I can't really say that, bro. Now, Golden State,
he willingly hurt his teams.
Give me 5 players he played with in Philly right now.
Hal Greer.
In Philly didn't he win?
He won a championship in Philly, and then he went to Game 7.
And he had all-star. He got
Billy Cunningham that year, didn't he?
Like Wilt had all-star teammates.
Yes, he had one Hall.
I mean, guys,
and maybe Cunningham.
No, he had average. Like I think he had average talent. For the
name him right now. Name him.
I don't know. Like
you can't name them, then like you lost.
But like I know.
Wait, what
Hal Hall of Famer. I think it's worthy of to say that he was actually a really good teammate.
Hal Greer. I know Hal Greer from 2K, so I assume he was a good player in the 60s.
Really good player.
With Wilt, With Wilt, it's more like how he contributed to win.
What do
you mean?
After,
what do you mean?
His decisions to like shoot as much as he did hurt his team, right? Like with KG, he didn't do that.
It might have been
like,
the offense that he was put in. We don't know that was his decision, but he did it, right?
Cool, but like he did it, right? Like
but listen, he did it right in that era on that team. You take him, put him on another team. We don't know the situation. We don't know. It might be something completely different.
Well, I mean, what changed was his play style in Philly.
Like, I guess that's why I said if you put him in the modern era, I'm not going to say
they lose versus the Pistons if KG's there. I'm telling you they lose versus the Pistons.
I'm sorry.
Nah, that's crazy.
I promise you
KG would destroy the Pistons.
No, he wouldn't.
Like, if KG were on the Lakers, if the KG were on the Lakers with Kobe, bro, they would have been a dynasty.
I feel like Ben Wallace would get lost with KG, man.
Bro, Ben Wallace would eat his, like...
What? Hey. You was
Not
about to
on
say some
offense,
crazy stuff right there.
On defense.
He was about to say something
Oh
wild.
my God, bro.
You know he made Shaq sit down, right?
You said he made Shaq what? No,
he made Shaq
okay.
sit on his ass.
They both sat down.
Yeah.
But
they both sat down. That's just because they're both strong, bro. That don't mean nothing. All that weight, and you know what I'm saying, that's going to cost him speed.
But he sat... Do you see the clip?
Yes, all right, but I know what you're talking about.
Oh my God.
Bro, he's doing the same thing to Kevin Garnett, bro. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. But Kevin Garnett can shoot threes.
KG gave you a similar level of rim protection to Tim Duncan while also being able to...
KG can shoot a 3 or 2.
And he had a jump
Not
shot.
efficiently.
Okay, who cares about efficiently? He just needs to shoot it
like he had
at a rate that...
He had a mid-range. He had a 3-point. What are we talking about?
He would have
shoot
been
a 3.
3-pointer in today's game.
A
like,
deep,
you asked him to stretch it out, he could.
Bro, like for real, like a deep mid-range shot. Come on, you don't think he could take just an accidental step back?
He's not hitting a step back.
Maybe not a step back, but he could take one step back.
I think you're giving KG too much credit. I think
KG,
you're not giving him enough.
He was the same level of player as Tim Duncan. He was
like
just drafted
KG too much.
Bro, Emmanuel. At the end of this podcast, bro, I'm literally gonna link you a video. I want you to watch that video, and you're gonna.
I'm not watching. I've not.
Did you see the link that I sent in the chat?
Yeah, the Wolf video. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
For the fadeaway 3-point.
Man.
In terms of pure talent, Wilt's probably won in terms of basketball players ever. I'm just saying.
I mean, you could make a case for Kareem, bro. The problem,
you really could.
How much they contributed to their team.
Also,
over their career.
unfortunately,
Tim Duncan won a championship without Parker and Monaco.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. He still had a better situation.
No, in 2003 they were mediocre. He still won. That was the biggest carry job, like statistically in history.
Then the Minnesota, like again, he still had a good situation, right? Like it's not just offense. It's also,
so you're telling me, other than 2004, he couldn't have gotten the first round once or twice?
No,
that's impossible.
No, he.
Let me see his playoff matchup.
I mean, it's not impossible. It's just like his skill set and what made him dominant is like his.
Wait, I'm gonna look up.
Y'all think Kareem is top in like talent?
Yes. What?
But no, I'm just saying like.
I mean, not with Wilt. Not with Wilt.
When he make the, I'm glad his playoff line.
Not with Wilt.
This man, we talk about Kareem. This man's still talking about KG. Like,
I am, because I'm not like.
Stop talking about KG.
Like, bro, we know he's almost as good as Duncan. Literally,
if you know, like if
he's not better.
I said literally.
Oh my god!
I'm saying he's in the same tier.
He's in the same tier, bro. Undisputed.
Career-wise,
he's not in the top 10, so he can't be in the same tier.
Career-wise, he's not as good as Duncan, right? We all agree with
that. Like as a player,
he has more help.
Like as
I don't do that. This is the GOAT debate. Greatest. You have to win.
Okay, cool. Like I don't care about how many.
If Tim Duncan was drafted to the Timberwolves, he wouldn't have won either. Period. That's a period.
He would have made out the first round more than
No.
I care about how you contribute to your team's success.
The Timberwolves, the worst franchise of all time.
I care about how you contribute to your team's success or failures, not whether or not you won. When I'm thinking about it.
Well, I don't like that philosophy.
Well, because winning isn't on you, right? Because winning isn't just on you; it's also on your teammates and your coach. Right?
He got a point.
How much
he
as
got
an
a point.
individual you contribute.
Winning is not just on you; it's on your teammates and your coach. Like LeBron 2007, I don't think anybody's blaming just LeBron for not winning it all. Right?
I mean,
that's not comparable, bro. I'm just saying you couldn't get out of the first round more than once.
Like,
how's that?
I mean, the East
put
was horrible
KG on
back
the
then.
Spurs,
Like, you can't compare it to. He was playing like, bro. Do you know that in the early 2000s there were like 7 to 8 50-win teams?
Okay, can you tell me
that's the toughest era ever. KG couldn't get out he only got the first round once in the toughest era in basketball history.
Bro, tell me the teams he faced, please.
I think he went against the Suns, maybe the Spurs once or something.
The Suns without Barkley, that's beatable.
No, the Steve Nash. What are you talking?
Right, what are you talking about? Talking about Barkley?
Wait.
Barkley was already gone.
Like, literally,
like, what do you?
He was retired. Forget that.
Yeah, that was the Nash era.
That was Steve Nash after, like, right after he went from Dallas.
Oh, so like
in the West, like if
that was
in
young
the West,
Steve
he had to face
young prime. That was his first year of his prime.
Wait, I thought his prime was in 05.
Oh nah, his prime started like maybe 2002 or 3.
Yeah, 3.
He was on the Mavericks back then. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I said. 1 year removed from being on the Mavericks.
So who was on the Suns back then?
When Amari Stoudemire, maybe?
KG played the Suns in the playoffs, right? I'm looking this up, bro, because y'all know how to. I'm looking this up.
What year we saying? 2003, right?
No, just any year. I'm looking at any year he could have made out of the first round.
Oh,
Bro, how can you say somebody's not valuable when they literally lead their team in every statistic? Like that's
and he's also being
also being a. When was his first year in the playoffs? I can look shit up. Look shit up.
No, I'm looking it up to make sure you get it right.
All right, you can have it pulled up. Like, tell me if I'm right or wrong. All right,
I'm going back. Let me see.
Kevin Garnett was an amazing player.
His playoff debut was in 96. Okay, 96. Okay.
Hold up. Who do you think is a better defender, Kevin Garnett or Tim D?
Kevin Garnett. Nowhere even close. KG.
I'm giving
probably KG, but Tim Duncan has more longevity on defense.
I mean,
I guess.
Timmy was.
But that was a huge injury.
Basically, like,
but if he had the same amount of help, bro, I don't think he would have got injured in 2008.
Yeah, but peak defense, KG.
KG's one of the greatest offenders ever. Period. Like, he might be the GOAT.
Like everything I described about Draymond, but like he's 7 foot.
Minnesota.
Like, bro, have y'all seen the Greatest Peaks video on KG? Like, that junk is wild. Like, by thinking about basketball, bro, that is probably because I never saw KG in his prime, and
yeah, it just like it gave me a greater appreciation.
Like that was
I saw the end of KG's prime.
Like
okay, 97 the Rockets, so I'll give him a pass for that. 98.
Kevin McHale was the executive of the 98 Wolves. 98. He went up against
the Supersonics with Kate. So yeah, that's a pass too. Sean Kemp and
no. Sean Kemp wasn't there because Sean Kemp was he fell off the bandwagon.
Okay, then that's a beatable series. That's winnable.
I mean, but that
was a winnable.
I mean,
series.
that was like a game 7 situation.
Oh my gosh,
that's a winnable series. I'm counting that as one. So
the Pistons held the Lakers to 68 points in the 2004-5. What the hell?
So are you counting this? That's one winnable series.
I guess
versus the Spurs, he faced Tim Duncan. So yeah, no, I'm giving it.
I mean, like I don't know. Like, if you put KD on the Timberwolves,
he went against the Lakers.
Why everybody get so quiet?
I'm looking at stats. He went against that Kings team.
Like there is a lot of it. I mean, let me just look at KG's averages in the playoffs. Like,
okay, look up 2000
playoffs per game
versus Portland. Oh, that team went on. Okay, that's passable because they almost beat.
Bro, in 2003, KG averaged 27 and 15 in the playoffs. Bro, don't at me, bro. Like what?
They almost beat the Lakers with the bums and Kevin.
Yes, that's why I give him a pass. I gave him a pass.
KG, he went against that Lakers team, man.
KG,
damn, he faced the Spurs again. That's another pass probably because Tim Duncan.
Dude, literally KG literally they're in the playoffs the year that he averaged all those points, bro. He led the playoffs in rebounds per game.
Dallas, Dirk was there. So was Nash with him there at that point? Let me see if Nash was there.
What year was it?
2002. Is that fair?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's winnable. Okay, that's another winnable series.
This man.
That's winnable.
Bro.
Stop it.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
That's a winnable.
Bro.
Stop
Come
it.
on now, bro.
None of them are supposed
now.
to be winnable. That's the
Okay,
point.
Lakers,
None of them are supposed to
For
be
real.
winnable. He's willing them into a winning situation.
He has 2 winnable series.
No one besides LeBron is winning in those situations
because of the style, bro.
The Sonics without Sean Kemp and the Dirk with
he winning against the Dallas Mavericks.
So I give you 2 fair. It's fair.
Literally,
right?
no one besides LeBron are winning in those situations. Like Tim Duncan is
and Michael Jordan
would not have won in those situations.
Bro, the Sonics with no Sean Kemp, that's a winnable series.
Bro,
no,
you can't tell me.
Okay,
that's not
but
a
look,
series.
it's no Sean Kemp. But then think of who else is on that team,
Who
right?
D'Lo Shrimp.
So it's nobody.
That looks okay.
Gary Payton. It's nobody guarding KG for real. But then they all have like comparable defenses on every other player on the team.
If a whole lot Sean Kemp
on a bum team,
bro, that's winnable, bro. If KG's that good, that's a winnable series. If you say he's Tim Duncan level, that's a winnable series.
No,
bro,
that's.
I don't care.
Tim Duncan would not win that.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't win that.
Tim Duncan wouldn't win that.
Okay,
basically by himself.
What about the Mavericks? With no Steve Nash.
Mavericks with no Steve Nash, but they had Jason Kidd.
Like, bro,
they didn't have Jason Kidd in 2002.
If they didn't have Steve Nash, they had Jason Kidd.
They didn't have Jason Kidd in 2002, bro.
If the Mavericks didn't have Steve Nash, they had Jason Kidd.
You sure? In 2002?
Let me check the roster.
Gary Payton and that, bro.
They did not have
Gary
Jason
Payton
Kidd.
averaged 26 points a game of 5 assists on 43% shooting for the 3-point line. 50%.
They had Steve Nash. They had Steve Nash. And they were
didn't. I'm looking at it right now. Steve Nash is not on the roster.
He's on the bottom. 2001, 2002.
Oh, I'm tripping. What the hell? Actually, no. Fuck. That's a winnable series.
Stop.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
gosh.
Steve Nash was not the Steve Nash.
This man.
Wait, I didn't look at where the series went. If it went 6 or I didn't look at the series. Oh my
like
bad.
2 top 20 or so players, like.
But isn't KG on the? You said he was on that level.
Tim Duncan doesn't do that. Literally, the only player.
Tim Duncan does not do that.
Player I can.
Tim Duncan had David Robinson.
Tim Duncan
had David
Robinson. Tim Duncan came into an amazing franchise.
Bro, he just came off the injury.
Bro, he was still good.
What do you mean?
Oh my god.
David Robinson was not that old.
He was still good.
Oh my god, bro.
It's crazy.
He wasn't that old. The only reason they were even able to get Tim Duncan with that pick is because David Robinson was injured.
You literally said he's
bro. If
David Robinson came back and averaged 22-10 with 3 assists.
He was old as hell.
With Tim Duncan.
Bro, he made the All-Star team. Like, he literally.
That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about?
He literally.
Like, a lot of people call AD a top 2 player after the Lakers won this year. Before this season, AD was on the Pelicans.
The
and they
Sonics
didn't win
was
shit.
winnable because they won 3-2. So he could have won that series. Tell me I'm wrong. That was a winnable series. Tell me I'm wrong. He won 3-2.
Bro, that's a carry job, bro. He was carrying them, bro.
Bro,
oh,
come on.
This is beautiful. I love this.
It went 3-2.
We gotta do this more often.
Hey, we need more random player debates.
What did KG do in the close of the game? I just want to look at it. See if he choked him. 3 of 11 in the closeout game. That nigga's better than Tim Duncan? That's cool.
Oh my god.
3 of 11 in the closeout game? That nigga's better
This
than
This is some casual ass takes.
Okay. Oh my god, bro. What were we even talking about before this, bro?
Nice talk. I don't know. It went from Draymond to
what
to
like, bro. Well, now that we have fewer people in here, less voices, because we were full. Like, we were literally filled up. Everybody was trying to speak. Now it's just us. Now let's just re-go over. Wait, did somebody leave?
Yeah.
Yeah. They couldn't handle my brutal honesty about how Kevin Garnett's overrated, but whatever.
Oh man, don't say that too soon. He might come back with a theory.
I mean, he's not, because most people don't have him in the top 10s, but you're overrating him, Charles. That's what I think.
I mean, he's in the same tier as Tim. If
you actually
if you're looking at career value and what he contributed to his teams, like, yes, he's in the same.
If he's
in the
out
same
of my
team
top
as
10
Duncan.
and Tim Duncan is in my top 10, that means he's a tier below KG.
That's on you. That's all you not knowing how good KG was.
Let me
That's all you not knowing how good KG was.
Did he not shoot 3 of 11 in the closeout game? Did I not just read that?
Oh my god, bro! He didn't have any help. He didn't have any help.
Don't care. He's not LeBron, bro.
Like, why wouldn't you just, bro? He's not LeBron. I'm not saying he's
Nobody's
LeBron.
saying
Just
that.
Like, if you have Tim Duncan in your team,
if you have top 10, he can't be that far from LeBron.
If you have Tim Duncan,
LeBron James is like top 3. What are we talking about right now?
But he's in the top 10 though. KG's in the top 10. And how? Like, where do you have him on your top?
I mean, I have KG like at number 11, 12.
So he's not in your top 10. See, that's good. That's a gem. And Charles,
that's the same thing. That's okay. Like, if you have Tim Duncan at 9 or 10 and KG at like 10.
You know who I have over KG all time? I have Dirk.
No. Dirk choked too much to be in the top 10.
Dirk led. Did you see it? 2011 playoffs?
Bro. The only reason why they won in the finals was because LeBron James played awful. If you tell
and they took advantage.
If you tell me that 40% is a good shooting percentage, I'm gonna laugh at you.
What do you mean 40%?
Dirk shot 40% from the field
in the series.
Yes, in the series. Did you not know that?
Okay, but he beat the big 3 Heat.
LeBron James had to basically average less than a bench player coming off the bench in order to win that series.
How is that Dirk's fault?
No, I'm not saying it's Dirk's fault. I'm just saying.
You know, he swept the defending champion. Lakers,
right?
I
know that. I'm not talking.
I think
I'm talking. But bro, what about 2007?
Right.
Are we gonna?
I got a dip. We can go Dirk.
So wait. Let's just go ahead and get our outros out the way, bro. Like, this has been the Godzilla Suplex podcast. I guess we've come.
Wait, where can I watch this?
On my YouTube channel of the same name. No. Godzilla Suplex, like the name of the podcast later. Oh my god. Like, literally, guys, just give y'all final consensus on who y'all think is the GOAT defender and why it's not Draymond.
Bro. Casual. The casuals will never understand Draymond.
Oh my god. Like, but y'all, give y'all picks.
Do you have 698 subscribers?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Right. Bye.
Wait, did you get your pick?
Oh. To great GOAT defender? Oh, I got the last.
Okay. That's nice pick. Nice pick. Not Draymond.
Draymond's in the top.
No. I wouldn't hear that.
For the modern man, I got Ben Wallace.
Okay, wait. What was yours, Emmanuel?
I got Ben Wallace.
Who?
Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace?
What do you mean Ben Wallace, bro? For the modern game, he'd be elite. What are we saying?
I mean, he was elite. I wouldn't say he's the GOAT. I mean, my GOAT defender. My GOAT.
I don't think y'all realize how important perimeter defense is in this one.
I mean, yeah, he'd be a little worse. He'd be a little worse, Draymond. You know.
Oh
my god.
Slightly worse.
Okay, for me, the GOAT defender in technicality has to be Bill Russell. But if we were going off of more evidence, I would have to say the greatest defender I've ever seen is KG.
KG is definitely 2. KG's 2 for me.
Okay, you're making me hate KG.
KG's 2.
Like, bro, don't make me have to link you the Grace Peak series on KG, bro. That literally.
Yeah, you should watch that. If you don't understand how good KG was,
no, I'm still watching the Will fadeaway. I'm still waiting for the fadeaway 3.
Stop, bro. Like, bro, but this has been the Godzilla Suplex podcast. Hopefully, I can have these same guys on again because I actually love the panel we had. Or, like 5 guys off the panel. Everybody else is just forgettable. Sorry. But, like this will be posted to YouTube. Y'all guys give y'all opinions in the comment section. I will see you guys later.